Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. My name's Finto. Tonight I'm joined by my buddies Kyle and Alex, aka Zaberwolf. I'm gonna bring the boys in now. Say hi to them. Yo, 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 gentlemen.
Hello,
How are we?
Finto.
Hello, hello. Happy Friday. How are we?
Doing alright. How are you doing?
I'm good.
As you know, my name's Kyle Crunk, and I'm doing fantastic.
Haha. Let's go.
And I am Zaberwolf.
What's happening, dudes? How are we?
Excited for this week's edition of Marvelous Chats. Really, we had a lot of good content to go over. We had a great week, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. I think I've seen a bit of a up and down on people's kind of reviews of What If, so I'm curious to see what you guys thought.
Yeah.
I
will say, I do want to give a quick shout out at the beginning of this.
Please do.
If there are any Star Wars fans, Drunky and Finto have about an hour, almost an hour long, Marvelous Chats episode out there for Star Wars Visions, covering every episode. It's fantastic. You guys need to go check it out. If you're a Star Wars fan, if you've seen the show, you can go watch it. They have it timestamped really well, so if you're going episode by episode, you can literally skip to the part of the chat that pertains to your episode. Just want to make sure we get that out there.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yeah,
love to see it.
Myself and Drunky, basically, we binged the whole season on Wednesday, the day it came out on Disney Plus, and we wanted to kind of just get the video done and get it out there as soon as possible. So I ended up not really taking my usual Wednesday off just to get this done. So it was definitely worth it, though. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, it's a good video. It's a good video. I'm actually
I didn't want to get too much into it because I didn't want to spoil her. So I've only got through the intro. It's really good so far. I'm gonna actually try to binge that myself this weekend.
Yeah, it's about a 2.5 hour go through
for one sitting.
Yeah. It's actually not too bad.
And I'm interested. You said the first episode was your favorite episode. Sorry, my wife just got home.
No, you're okay. Yeah, the first episode. So for me, just to talk very quickly on it, the episodes 1, 5, and 7 were my kind of 3 favorite. They're the ones I'd love to see kind of further explored.
Yeah, we won't talk about it here because if you guys want to hear about it, like we said, they do have that episode out now. Go check that on the Marvelous Chats YouTube. And getting into this week, like we were saying, just really great content. The What If do you want to get into that first? I think I really think because of the way it lines up, which I didn't know we were doing this because I didn't know what if is. I really think we should talk about Age of Ultron because that has a really good synchronicity. We could talk about our 2 movie watches that we did this week, which were really good.
Remind people what they were.
Yeah, diving right into it, we watched Avengers: Age of Ultron this weekend and Ant-Man because we're doing 2 movie watches on the catch-up.
Yeah.
Avengers, both of them great. Going into Avengers: Age of Ultron really holds up on the rewatch. I'm a kind of a nerdy guy, as I mean we all are. That's why we're here. But when we get into that science and the technology side of everything, that's just where it just hits all assets for me.
Yeah.
And this movie is just, it does so many things right for me.
For sure, dude. And I think we've done this a couple of times on the podcast, and I don't know how, but we always seem to line up the rewatch perfectly with What If. So it's I don't know how whatever
show we're watching.
It seems to be fluky. It seems to be fluky, but we seem to be lining stuff up great. So yeah, first of all, I think we need to just dive straight into What If, and that's kind of just the main point of this week. It's the biggest content of the week so far, and it's so guys, let's just do our usual round table. What do we think? Episode out of 10. Alex, do you want to start?
Sure. To be completely honest, I give it maybe a 7.5.
Cool.
It wasn't spectacular. It was fun, but it wasn't amazing. It was just another one of those moments of oh man, Thor's just the most popular person ever. Much like T'Challa being Star-Lord, and I thought that it was fun, but other than that, it didn't really bring anything new to the table other than just bringing Carol back into Earth. It was cool seeing Loki as a different being altogether, as you know, an actual frost giant, and it seems like he wasn't a runt, which makes it much different than what he originally was, because he was considered the runt of the litter when it came to the frost giants.
Oh yeah.
And but like overall, I say about a 7.5. It was okay. It wasn't fantastic. It was just very like light driven, you know, party and whatnot, which, you know, for all intents and purposes, that's what it was for. It Howard the Duck did a great job.
Yeah,
it was really fun seeing him. I thought it was funny that you know, he and Darcy got married.
Yeah.
And,
such a clown.
it was so good at like wild. For those points. Yeah. Darcy felt a little forced,
kind of like Wang in the previous episodes,
right? Yeah, because like you know, we all know that Darcy is the comic relief, you know, very very silly and whatnot, but it was like really pushing. So, but other than that, like everything else was fine. I thought it was weird that Maria was like so adamant on like getting rid of Thor. You know, there wasn't really any destruction going on. It was just like, oh, there's so many aliens in this one spot. So, but other than that, yeah, that finale part was really awesome though. That's a big change of pace.
God, bro. Like, to be honest, for me, that was just the best 20 seconds of What If right there. You know, like that was just, let's flip the script, let's change the game completely. For me, that was just
mind melter.
Oh, mind melter. Oh my God.
Like, I don't want to spoil it too much, but even with the watcher not knowing what's going on, like mind melter.
Right, and that's never happened in the comics. So this is something brand new.
Nice.
Like this is something that's like the only person who's ever had that much power was Thanos, of course. So it's amazing. But anyways,
yeah, I'd say like 8 out of 10 for me on this episode, maybe 8.5. The ending alone you could rate an 8 or 9 out of 10, maybe even 10 out of 10 depending. But like, the whole episode, 8 out of 10. Really, Party Thor is just a fun time guy. You know, really love seeing how. I thought that maybe they were somehow going to sneak away and to have like Loki and Thor have animosity towards each other, which I'm really glad they didn't do. They were really just brothers from another mother the whole time. Enjoyed that. It was really well done. I completely agree with what you said, Zaber, with the forced Darcy comic relief. Sometimes it's like we get it. You can paint the strokes with a few on the painting. You know, you don't need to dump the whole paint can on it, and that's what it feels like they are doing sometimes here. So, well, I guess we'll all talk to the end about the end together once Finto gives his review. But for the episode as a whole, just enjoyed it. Enjoyed seeing, like you said, Loki as an actual ice giant. That was great. We really have pretty much the whole cast of Loki, Love, and Thunder coming into this episode here. We had Natalie Portman showing up for her role, and it's nice to see them all kind of working together already and see what's going to come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like, to be honest, I think the episode was kind of, I don't know if it was kind of a, and I say this lightly, but like a bit of a piss take episode. Like, you know, it was just fun. You know, it was like pretty much just a party on Earth. Like, you know, there wasn't really a terrible amount that happened. I thought it was kind of interesting that that they got Captain Marvel down. She obviously sees it as like a big giant threat on the planet, and obviously with the Frost Giants and the Asgardians them arriving on Earth. And I just think, like, I don't know, like, it was just most of the episode was just kind of really playful and fun, and then, you know, it got very serious very quickly, and then, you know, it just jumped straight, like, it was back and forth between comedy and seriousness. Like, I loved Loki. I thought he was very funny, and I thought it was amazing to see him in his true form. I thought that was great. And the fact that him and Thor still kind of got on as if they were brothers, just, you know, having the banter and stuff, I thought that was very well done. I thought that was very funny. Like,
well, those horns like taped on. I couldn't tell that there. It's like a headband. his horns. They were
like, made of
ice. Ice. Okay, that's what it was. I couldn't tell why there was like a headband.
Yeah, they were like formed out of ice, which I thought was very intelligent. Like,
that's cool.
And because obviously, you know, they have like the power to manipulate ice or whatever.
I love that it was huge.
He was just a giant, like, and it was great because, like, you know, he's obviously the prince of Jotunheim, so like you would think that he would be an absolute giant, like, so it makes sense, you know. And so I really like that because, like, that's probably the truest portrayal of Loki that we've seen, you know, unaltered, or, you know, his history, I suppose, not changed. Like, that was the path that he was truly meant to take, I suppose. Obviously, maybe not the party animal part of him, but, like, you know, that was his true form, say. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. You know, as I don't want to be mean, but like, you know, I didn't really care about Captain Marvel being in it. You know, it was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, I kind of had the same reception. Yeah, it was cool, but do you think that she beats Thor in like the MCU, like in the live action?
I think they did a good job of kind of making it almost equal. They're both otherworldly beings. I think my favorite part of that, which I forgot to mention, is they almost had like an anime-esque style to that fight scene because they have the powers going on.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the highlights of the season so far for me, is just seeing them really like try to put the live action into a cartoon and really just embrace the cartoon of it.
The bit where they were about to clash and Frigga comes down, I thought that was really cool. And,
that was amazing.
Yeah, I kind of, when I was talking with Drunky offline about thumbnails for the episode, I kind of sent him that, just thinking, like, you know, would this be an idea for a thumbnail? Because I thought that'd be a really cool shot. But I've started seeing a bunch of people throw that up on YouTube already. So
now, that wasn't the right actress, was it? I think it would have hit a lot harder if it was.
For
Brie Larson?
For Frigga?
For Frigga, yeah.
For Frigga, I think it was. She was quite similar. I hated one thing I really didn't like about the episode. I thought it completely broke immersion. Was that Natalie Portman's likeness wasn't used, and it wasn't her. I don't think it was her voice either.
It was her voice. No, it was her voice. I believe.
Was it?
It was her voice.
Okay, but it wasn't her.
It was her voice, but it wasn't her likeness. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, why would they do that? Like, you know, Marvel have put in obviously a big amount of, like, you know, work and effort into that character going forward. She's going to become Thor, so I'm thinking, like, I can understand why they might not do it in a case where they think that maybe someone like Thor, for example, you know, Chris Hemsworth probably doesn't have too many movies left in him, 2 or 3 max, I'd say, and then he's gone. So I can understand if they want to continue to use the character in animation. That kind of makes sense. It's the character that we're used to. But like, for someone like, now maybe this is the same thing, but like, I don't know, like, my presumption was, you know, you sign Natalie Portman on to become Thor, you would think that that's gonna come with at least maybe 4 or 5 more cinematic appearances in, like, maybe 1 or 2 of her own movies, and then she might show up in, like, Guardians or you know, an Avengers movie or something like that, or Secret Wars or one of these things. So yeah, I just thought it was very strange that her likeness wasn't used.
I think it's very much it's we've seen this a couple times, like, where they've used 2 different likenesses for Ross already, and they used one that was like a mixture of both. So I think they're really just kind of playing with the ideas and things. Maybe, I don't know if you guys think that has anything to do with the fact that there was a little bit of a tumultuous relationship in the past between her and the MCU, because we did see her kind of skip out on an entire movie. It could be an underhanded, you know, slap to that whole situation. I don't know.
I don't
know
swear it was like a personal matter. Maybe it was like she was pregnant at the time. Because in a lot of cases,
Junkies mentioned it. It was about a director that they did.
Was it a director?
Yeah, it was, I believe, a female director or producer. I believe Drunky told us in the past about this, and they didn't want to work, or they kicked her off the project, and she said, "Well, if she's off the project, so am I," or something like that.
Oh, I thought it was a personal matter.
Yeah, I can. Well, you talk. I'll go ahead and double check.
Well, Finto, I posted a picture of a comparison between Thor, Jane, and the Grandmaster. It should be in the podcast section. So if you want to throw that up and show, like, the difference between them.
Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Because I want to just see how this works. We may as well just test this out now while there's less of us here and we have a bit more room on the screen. Will you share your screen with that image on it? Maybe throw it on your desktop and share your desktop with me, because I just want to see what it pops up like and looks like for people that are watching on Twitch, live on Twitch or on YouTube.
Yeah, let me see if I can get that going.
Just pop it onto like your main desktop and just share your desktop or something like that. Like, I'm just curious because I think what'll happen is it should pop our 3 cameras over to the right hand side of the screen, and then we should be able to see your screen in the middle. That's what should happen. Now I'm just curious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see it from there?
That's sweet. Yeah, this is cool. I like it. Cause like we're like little miniatures in the corner. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Grandmaster I thought was like great. Thor, like I suppose he did kind of look like Thor from the first movie. But he doesn't really look like Chris Hemsworth. I don't think that much. Like you can get away with it. I think.
I think the way that they were trying to do the design is that he's sort of like a teenage kid.
Yeah.
You know, he's out there partying and doing what he can.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're also talking, I mean, we're talking cartoons here. It's very subjective. What we may see looks like somebody or doesn't look like somebody else may be like, they killed it. They nailed it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like, but there's definitely some characters in the show that are like 100%
that are,
like dead on. Like they're using like 3D graphs of their faces. Like Killmonger was 100%.
Oh yeah,
Michael B. Jordan. Like he was.
Do you think it could just be the person? Maybe just has more distinguishable features. Because I now like seeing it here. I'd say maybe the eyes are the only part that aren't the best.
I would say for Natalie Portman, I would say that's probably one of the better pictures of her, because I find that a lot of the like when you're watching the episode, I found that like she doesn't really look like that for a lot of it. She looks very different. So I think they've kind of made it like that she's kind of pouting or whatever. So sure, her face kind of looks like Natalie Portman there.
Yeah,
but when you're
very
watching
much pruning the whole time too. I believe that could be it.
I think part of it too is doesn't she have sort of a regular head shape, and so maybe it wasn't able to process like
Natalie
I didn't know we were doing personal attack here, Miss Natalie Portman. I will never say
we're not attacking Natalie Portman.
The sand doesn't bother me as much as it bothered Hayden Christensen. I'm just telling you.
Oh my god, dude.
No, Natalie Portman is actually a gorgeous woman, but I would understand if it's very difficult to kind of get the right shape superimposed onto a show.
Yeah.
And then see it look odd to some people, even though that would be her natural head shape. So I'm thinking maybe they just adjusted it so that it would be better for the hair flow to come through, and to also give her, because her lips are still full in the show. So like it like her features are there. It's just the head shape is one of the things that are kind of showing up on my end.
Yeah.
But yeah, just into the actual content of the episode itself, we got to talk about the elephant in the room. If you want to pull it up here, I'll do it. Now it's my turn to share a screen.
Yeah, do. I don't mind you doing this. I just make sure you don't pop up anything strange. You're being trusted here, gentlemen.
Strange.
Oh, got him.
So I'm trying to get a good. I can't get a good picture like y'all did so quickly. I need to see it.
You got to improve those Googling skills, brother.
It's funny.
You know what? I won't even have to pull it up. I'm just gonna say the elephant in the room. Ultra Vision. Holy shit! The end of the episode, boys. What did you? How did you feel? Obviously, we saw the evil Ultrons come out, which I expected. I didn't really expect there to be the leader. I thought maybe there was just gonna be a horde of them, and then it'd still be a cliffhanger. But to see him actually walk out, and then to see the Watcher, like, huh?
Yeah, like for me, I thought that, because the trailers that we've seen, the robots in those trailers kind of looked like the Ultron that we got in the movie, right? So I was thinking like, oh, okay, yeah, they'll just be another one of them. But obviously, it would make sense that he is so advanced in this universe that he was able to create that version of himself as the army, and then he is. Like, so if we go back to Age of Ultron, his mission is to get into the vibranium suit that becomes Vision. And obviously in this universe, he succeeds in doing that. And in doing that, he basically just becomes an absolute God. I don't know. Like, you know, he's got the vibranium thing, and he has all 5 or all 6 Infinity Stones. That's kind of the picture there. Sorry, I'll bring it up here. So yeah, you'll see him. He's there, and then like his mask removes, and I don't know if they have a picture of that, but his mask removes, and basically you'll see the Vision. You see Vision, but it's not Vision; it's Ultron. And yeah, it's amazing. That's kind of a drawing of it. But yeah, I thought that was just mind blowing. It was so good, so good.
It's amazing. Yeah, we've never seen these in the comics. This has never occurred, but Ultron has defeated Thanos before. So if he's going out and about and he's like, you know, I can do much better than Thanos, this is the way to go.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
Pretty much, this is what I believe. What this is going into how we watched Age of Ultron, and tying that into this. This is what I believe happens if Ultron wins. Right?
Exactly.
This is exactly what would have happened.
Exactly. And that's a very, very scary thought, because he just goes and gets all the Infinity Stones, probably kills Thanos, probably, like, you know, like anything is possible, you know what I mean? Like, he's obviously...
And this is where I'm kind of wondering, because like we have Thanos, zombie Thanos has stones, right? He has stones. If they're gonna battle, we have stones from 2 different universes still having power in the same universe. That opens a lot going forward into Phase 4.
Do you think? Well, I don't think that unless the Watcher has something to do with this, like merging multiverses. But my understanding of stones was that they were only held power. We learned this in Loki, but the stones only hold power in the universe that they're from. The second you take them out of that universe, they're paperweights. That's what we learned in Loki. So if you were to bring them into, like, so if you were to bring like Ultron and Thanos from 2 different universes into a third universe, neither of the stones would work. They'd be just useless. If you brought one into the others, obviously theirs wouldn't work, but the home team would win, basically.
I've heard arguments actually against that, saying that as long as they stay kind of within the timeline, as long as they stay, even if they go to a different timeline, as long as they don't exit the timeline, which is where like the TVA is, how they said it's outside of time. But if it's like a timeline to timeline thing, or like they're creating they're kind of creating a new timeline here. So I don't know. There's a lot up in the air kind of still with it, and it's just really because what I think it looks to me like what they're gonna set up is this guy fighting the Thanos. And if that's to be true, then we know there's an Infinity Gauntlet, and there's this suit that's an Infinity Gauntlet kind of. So it I don't know. We'll see what they do with what they have left with the episodes. They went from having me not that excited about this show, kind of like, yeah, we'll get a good episode here and there, to like, this got me like those old school Dragon Ball Z vibes. Like, next episode, Dragon Ball Z. Like, I want to know what happens, bro. I need to see this fight.
Well, one of the theories that I have about this is that, well, there's 2 possible outcomes of this. So obviously, it seems as if he's either coming back in time or he's moving into a new reality, because as we see from the Reality Stone, it affects things like happening within the environment. So maybe he's found another timeline that he can go into, but it's within the same fork as with the other timeline. So it's a split. It's like a split off. It's a what if, but there's 2 timelines pertaining to that. So what if Ultron won, or because if you think about it, if we were to go into the actual timeline of things, if Thor is Party Thor, then did the Avengers occur? Did the first Avengers movie occur? Because it seems like he's already known everybody. This is way far into the advancements of like all the movies, because we're into Thor Love and Thunder sections.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like Thor Love and Thunder, but kind of almost feels like in the timeline of Thor 1.
I'm sorry, Ragnarok. But yeah, so like with if we're going as far as Ragnarok with Party Thor, then how much time has passed since then? Other than that, if it's going in a regular timeline, and Thor's not around because he's helping Odin, and then Odin's sleep occurs, and then he travels throughout the galaxy, then I mean, like, we really don't need Thor for the Avengers from what I'm thinking now. It's just he happened to show up. But I'm not sure how much of a what's the word? How much is needed of him in order to allow the rest of the movies to progress. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I still think this episode in a way sets up Love and Thunder as far as like the cast choice. I think, I mean, I don't know. I think if you don't have Thor in the Avengers, maybe you could say Captain Marvel takes that spot in that kind of universe, you know? But I don't know. I think... Go ahead.
I think that this is a universe where the Avengers still occurred and Thor wasn't part of it.
I mean, it seems like, yeah, Kara was, because they were like, we have a secret weapon. What did you guys think of Nick Fury being knocked out? Do you think that was just like they didn't get Samuel L. Jackson or something?
No, I think they're ripping the piss, bro. I think, like, you know, they're trying to have fun with it in certain universes, like, because as they, you know, anything can happen. So I think, like, you know, there's going to be some instances where Fury just gets flattened, like, you know, and Maria Hill has to take over.
And why am I acting director, do you ask?
Yeah. I don't know, like, for me, I thought a lot, like, you guys are trying to, like, figure out the timeline of when this happened, as opposed to the 616, and to me, it seemed a lot like the first Avengers movie, but just it seemed that, because, you know, the way, like, Maria Hill was up in the sky base and stuff like that, and, you know, they were trying to get intel on Thor and all this sort of thing, but obviously it seemed like Thor had only just come to Earth for the first time, just to tear it up, like, so, or, like, in their kind of timeline, if that makes sense, like, in their lifespan, but I think... Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this actually sits in any specific, like, 616 movie. I think they're kind of just pulling on events that kind of would have happened or maybe might have happened in this specific timeline that could have been close to any of the movies. Because, like, obviously you've got Ultron showing up, which is, like, Avengers 2. You've got, like, the Maria Hill thing, which is, like, you know, her most predominant role was definitely the first Avengers movie. You know, so I think they're definitely kind of, like, trying to pluck stuff out of different, like, events in the 616 to kind of make up this what if scenario.
Okay, well, I get what you're saying, but here's the thing. Maria Hill was also at the end of Infinity War with Nick Fury. They had the beeper and they used the beeper for Carol Danvers.
Yeah.
If we're presuming that Thor shows up to, like, if we're presuming that Thor shows up to Earth immediately, that kind of defeats the purpose of him having all these other stories and getting all these other people here. So if you think about it, it's pushing on the timeline of the Avengers timeline from phase 1 all the way to phase 3.
Yeah.
Because that's how all these characters come to be, and that's how they show up at Earth as a last stop, in a sense. Like, they're all here, all the stories have been foretold already. Even Drax is there. And so if you think about it, if Thor was never around, then that means that the Avengers have lost like one of their mightiest heroes, which means that it's the mighty Thor. And
no, you know that joke in Ragnarok where he's like, mightiest Avenger, and it's like password doesn't work, and he's like, you know, number 1 Avenger, strongest Avenger, and all this stuff. Yeah.
And then Hulk comes in and is like, welcome, strongest Avenger.
Yeah. Oh man, it's fantastic. I love the comedy.
Yeah, and so that's the thing is they don't have their strongest Avenger, and therefore that's why Tony's not there. That's why Hawkeye's not there. You don't see Black Widow or even Hulk. They're all defeated because Avengers 2: Age of Ultron occurred, and Ultron.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Ultron defeated them, then went to go get everything.
Yeah, like if
that makes sense. So,
if Ultron takes place, the Avengers got wiped out. They lost completely, and then that would make sense as to why they get through to Captain Marvel, because
the only reason Thor's not there is just because he doesn't have a.
He never would have. He's a different Thor, completely different Thor. He's like a spoiled rich boy.
The only reason he went to Earth in the first place is because Odin sent the hammer there, and him.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, it was a punishment.
What did you guys think about Frigga just wanting to be like, go party with the girls?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody's just completely happy, and they don't, there's nothing to worry about, and therefore one thing to worry about makes the mother go like, ugh.
I love the aspect of the mom's coming home, because that's something that we've all experienced at one point in our life. Like, oh shit, mom's
clean
coming
up the
home.
house. Shit, she's gonna be home any minute. Yeah.
You better turn 10 seconds
evidence
into 10 minutes and clean up the fastest you ever have in your life.
The bit it was very funny. The bit where she's coming, like you can see the Bifrost sending her, and he's like trying to scrub the Thor rocks off the side of the building. He's like, and it's like it was cutting back and forth, and he's like,
no, when he
I got
goes,
such a laugh
"Oh, Father, help me," and then he gets the all powerful voice, and he goes, "My mother's on her way."
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
Yeah, it was so goofy, man, but it was very funny. It was very funny. I gotta give it to them. The comedy in this one was probably the biggest take home, was how good the comedy was. And I don't know, the episode, for me, the episode was fun, but at the same time it was nothing without those last 20 seconds with Ultron.
Right.
That changed the whole episode. If that wasn't in it, this episode could have been a flop completely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from what I'm seeing online, a lot of people seem to think that way. They don't like the episode at all. Bottom of the list for the entire series, and I wouldn't go that far. I had fun with it. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was good.
There's people that are saying it's bottom.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, thinking, because I think what people are getting angry about is that the trailers seem to be kind of a little misleading to what Thor was going to do in the episode, and kind of people are walking out of the episode going, "Oh my god, that was Party Thor! That was the whole episode," So I think people are very disappointed in that sense, and I think without the Ultron bit at the end, I think I would probably join them, because I think for most of the episode all we see is him in Vegas and him at I don't know what, they were at a bridge or something at one point, and they're just having a big party, and that was literally it, So
I think it kind of makes sense for me, because if we look at it, every episode has introduced somebody that we can kind of put into our cast of multiversal Avengers now. So now we have this big bad finally. Well, we have two big bads. I don't know how if they're gonna fight or team up, but we have zombie Thanos, and we have Ultron Vision. And then we have Party Thor. We have the Doctor Strange that didn't get trapped forever. We have Captain Carter. We have all these people now that are gonna come together. And I think it makes sense. It's starting to make sense more to me now. Whereas in the beginning of the season, I thought it would be maybe next season is when we get their second episode or whatever. But now it just seems like each episode is introducing cast member pretty much. Big bad's here. Now we're all going to have to meet up in some way. Maybe one at a time, maybe two at a time. We have a couple episodes. And then we're going to have to fight. So I kind of like what they're doing. If it goes the way I think they're taking it after this episode, I think it's going to be a really good season. It's elevating previous episodes right now in my mind, which I think is the goal of a really good show. You want your later content to make you look back and be like, oh wow, that actually was really good,
Connective tissue, I think, is very important.
Yeah.
And that's what Marvel have built. That's the reputation they now have. It's the business model. Everything is connected. The Infinity Saga was 25 movies that all connected together, and we want to keep that going. So even when we're talking about different universes and different timelines and all this shit, it's still nice that they somehow will connect. And I think, from what we've seen from that mid-season trailer, which we broke down last week, we still have episodes where we're going to get Captain Carter with a Black Widow, and with Killmonger and all these sort of people. And I don't know, this could be a Earth fucking 312, and it's just an Earth where they all exist. You know what I mean? We may not actually get what we think we're going to get. It's what if. It's very up in the air. We don't really know. So I suppose I'm not really holding much expectation for the show. I'm kind of just going week by week. I'm kind of just, sitting down, turning my brain off and just going, let's just enjoy this. Let's not try and think too much about it. Let's not try and connect it to the 616 because it's not, and so on. And I'm kind of just trying to just enjoy it as a one shot each time. I'm thinking of these like one shot comic books that just don't exist anywhere else, and it's like a one of one issue, and then that's it. If they come back and they start expanding on it, I think that's going to be amazing. I would love to see that, but I'm not expecting it really.
I think you unlock the key right there. As long as you're not trying to tie it back to main MCU 616 right now, and you're just sitting back enjoying it for what it is and letting it tie into itself and be a standalone kind of thing, then you're really going to enjoy it a lot more. If you go searching for that 616 connection, I think you're going to lose a lot of enjoyment.
Yeah. Like, and at the end of what we just saw there is like the purpose of the show. What if Ultron got the Vision suit? What if he won? And it's like it's fun to see. Like, I'm sure there's 50 different scenarios if he wins that fight. This is just one that we're seeing, so it's like it's just interesting to see. Like, obviously, and that's half the fun as well. Like, that's half the purpose of the show. So it's interesting. I like it, and I would love to see some of these episodes expand into season 2, and I think that's what they're going to do. They might take like the top rating episodes and go on fan expectations and fan like reviews and see, okay, people loved the Zombie Hunter Spider-Man, they loved Evil Doctor Strange, they loved Party Thor, they loved blah, blah, and then Captain Carter, of course, and then they go through the lists and they'll probably put together a team. I really think that's probably what will happen in the next season.
As far as investigating everything, though, I'd have to disagree. Like, the whole point, in my opinion, of doing all of these shows and like contemplating and wondering about what could happen next is to me one of the most fun things you can do, as far as like wondering which characters will actually show up in the 616 universe.
Oh, well, I think with Multiverse of Madness and stuff like that, of course, there's going to be opportunity for some of these universes to cross, and like that's amazing, and I'm all for that. But the point that I was trying to make is that I'm looking at them like one shots right now, because it's just like these are just complete like what if scenarios. Like, it's not, there's no connective tissue right now or evidence of anything that we've seen. Sure, I've heard crazy rumors coming down the pipeline of what we might actually see, like live action Captain Carter, live action zombie universe, like zombie Avengers and stuff. Like, obviously I think if they do that, I think it's amazing, and then it makes those one-shot episodes even more special, because they're kind of the origins then. That's the reference that we go back to. But as it sits right now, they're just very much, one-shots that just aren't connected to anything. Yeah.
Now,
yeah, I agree with you, Vindo, 100% on that.
I can agree with that at this point right now as well, because as far as everything is for each episode, it's nice to be able to take your brain out and just watch an episode for the sake of the episode.
Yeah.
Now, before we continue, I have one last question.
Sure.
Why do you think Uatu did not see that Ultron was coming?
Is Ultron so powerful he can like hide himself or something? Perhaps.
I think there could be two. I think there's two possibilities here. I think there's Ultron so powerful. This is just something that they couldn't foresee, but they also very distinctly have him turn his back to what's going on. Like, he's literally the Watcher. You can't watch with your back turned. He turns his back to what's going on, and maybe this is to signify he can't see everything. Even though his job is to be the Watcher, he can't see it all at all the times. He turns his back and he's like, what a happy ending. And like, he kind of just lets his focus slide for a second. We like to call it complacency, when, just things are going good for you. You just let your guard down a little bit, right? He saw a happy ending and he's chilling.
He's like, cool.
And that's
on to the next one.
And that's exactly
it's like, hold up a second.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
And he did blink, which in terms of us, whenever we blink, we may miss something.
True.
So, yeah, and then we've never, he's obviously, this is just, I don't know. It's just really, I really liked how they had him looking at the universe through kind of like the pained glass, right?
Mhm.
It looked kind of like a pane glass, like with the city. And it's kind of like they have this pane of glass. It almost represents like the dimension or the universe. Because if you remember at the end of the Doctor Strange episode, as he was begging for help, he kind of slowly faded out of that universe, as we saw, and it was like a gym almost. So I just think that this is to signify like the Watcher wasn't watching. I don't know. He kind of failed his job. So I know in the actual comic books, right? Didn't he mess up once because he tried to intervene? So maybe this is just their way of showing like, yeah, he messed up here too. Maybe it's not the same mess up that he did in the comic books, but I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that that was his mess up in the comic books by intervening.
Yeah, he was assisting the Fantastic Four, and he did it so much that he got in trouble, and basically he said he was never going to do it again. And so I think that this is what this season is building up to, is that one moment where he's going to intervene, and it may or may not cause a catastrophe.
A multiverse of madness, perhaps.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah,
this could be that. This is like you're saying. This is a really good setup for why he would intervene too. If this kind of feels like, oh well, this is only happening because I turned my back and I made a mistake for a second. So like, maybe I should intervene.
Even if he didn't turn his back, like he's only watching. So you know what I mean. Even if he misses something, it has no relevance to what's happened. It's not like he would see. True. It's not like if he didn't turn his back and he saw Ultron appear, it's not like he's gonna like throw a fist down and crush him or something, like, you know what I mean? He's just gonna view it like it's still the same end game, you know what I mean?
Like, I feel like the Watchers just need to, I don't know if they have another set of dudes called the Doers. Maybe they have a beeper system. They page them. The Watchers page the Doers.
We need the Doers. Shit's going down.
Yeah. I just feel like if your job is only watching, that's kind of a weird, like, hey, I'm not gonna shame your kink, but at some point action needs to be taken, right? So I just feel like nothing gets accomplished if all you ever do is watch. It's weird to me. So let's get the Doers in here.
Alex, what's the just a real quick, so I know I've seen people talk about this, and again, I think you know the most about Uatu out of all of us. So when the series starts, we see him. He's very much like in the stars. You know, it's only this very silhouette of his shape, of his appearance. And as the episodes have gone on, he's gotten closer and closer and closer to Earth. And now we can actually see his face. We can see his skin tone, everything. So it's like he's stepped forward so much into the frame that we can now see what he looks like. Is this? You think that this is him basically about to intervene or about to get involved? Is that what you think? That's where it's going, yeah?
This is totally him getting to the point of intervening, so that we get so that we get the idea that Watchers don't have to just watch, they can intervene whenever necessary, and they're also visible to certain other beings. So clearly they're tangible too. So and then him getting closer, in my opinion, signifies the almost like
severity,
the looking glass, like,
isn't it? Like it's like the severity of the situation, because it seems like he's only very, very close when shit's about to really hit the fan. Like, that's the closest we've seen him, and it's Ultron with all the stones. So you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, we saw him like face to face with Doctor Strange, but yeah, we only see him really get close, like you said, when it's severe.
Yeah,
I would say it'd be important to note that he actually looks very much like his comic book depiction of Uatu. Yeah. They've done a really good job of making him look like the OG Uatu, and then like giving him a voice and putting him into life has been really cool. Yeah, I think do you think here's the big for me. I think either the episode or the season ends with his intervention, and then that's how we go into the next season, or do you think he intervenes like next episode?
I think he's going to intervene next episode for sure, because he's clearly about to like go, what the heck just happened?
He just shit his robe.
Yeah, he's going to shit right through his robe.
That does look like him in the cartoon.
It's amazing.
What I find kind of good as well is that I see some likeness to the voice actor. Jeffrey Wright. There's a bit of likeness to him as well, which I think is a nice kind of little mashup because it is very comic accurate, but at the same time, when you look at it, you know it's Jeffrey Wright if you know what he looks like, if you know the actor. So I thought that it's double intelligent, double whammy.
And like the theme here is like as he's getting closer to watching other universes, it's almost as if his amazement is getting too much and he can't see what's going on in the other universes, which is probably what tripped him up with Ultron.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think here, just before we kind of maybe wrap up on What If for the week? Give us your what if kind of prediction for how the season's going to end. So, like, what's your big what if? Like,
that's what I was just saying. I think that's where it's going. I don't think maybe Uatu intervenes next episode. I think next episode we see the big bads kind of impose their threat more, because all we saw was them coming out. All we saw was zombie Thanos hold the gauntlet. We haven't seen him do anything bad yet. So I think we have an episode or two of that, and then it ends with Uatu intervening.
Yeah,
that'd be my prediction.
Alex?
I think Ultron is gonna really bang things up, and it's just gonna cause another explosion of multiverse of madness. It's really hard to get away from that theme.
Yeah. So like, I keep thinking like, who's gonna actually start the multiverse of madness? Because we all think it's Wanda, then we think it's Loki, then we think it's like now potentially Uatu. Like, it's like, I just can't wait to find out what actually does it. Is it going to be Strange? Is it going to be something else that we've seen that just causes it? Because like, we know it's not Kang, because he's just, again, he's like an observer. He's just sitting back and watching, and he's like, okay,
I think it's Spider-Man.
You think it's Spider-Man?
It's Spider-Man.
So what happens in his movie?
I think what happens in his movie starts the multiverse of madness, and then it's like, this is like at the end of the movie, there's probably gonna be like some throw or a line, or maybe even in the post-credit scene, that's gonna be like, this is madness. We've cracked the multiverse. This is madness. This is gonna be something like kind of cheesy like that, and then we're gonna have Doctor Strange.
I saw something. So listen to this very quickly. Sorry, Alex, just off Kyle's comment. So yes, that makes a lot of sense, but at the same time, we have already seen, and this is before the spell happens, we've already seen J.K. Simmons appear in more than one universe, technically. Or is it the same guy? We don't know, but we have the same character played by the same actor in the 616 already, and the spell hasn't happened yet, right? And we also have Evan Peters in the 616. And again, I know it's like always meant to be Ralph Boner, but at the same time,
that could be illusion magic. That's all kind of weird with like, because he never really even existed technically. That is the way they kind of put that into the end, right? Like, it wasn't Pietro, it was Boner.
Yeah, it was just someone who had the same likeness as Evan Peters, basically, but just in the 616. Sorry, Alex, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying when Kyle said this is madness, my brain just pulled up Gerard Butler, just being like, this is Marvel.
I think
Kevin Feige kicking someone into the hall.
The multiverse of madness. I'm just so excited. I do want to give a special shout out for Blakey. He said something that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. He said, if we don't get in the Spider-Man movie, that Spider-Man meme where all three Spider-Mans are pointing at each other like this, if we don't get that in the movie, then he's gonna riot, and I'm fully on board with that. Like, I need that.
So do you know the leaked picture of Andrew Garfield on the set? Someone noticed that in the edge of one of those pictures, there you can see another Spider-Man glove, and it's Tobey's glove, right? And he's pointing. Yeah. He's pointing. So like, they're saying like he's potentially pointing at Tom. Andrew's in the middle, and he's on the left-hand side. So it's like, I think they're actually recreating that as it is. And Andrew, like, you can see, like, lip readers have read what he's saying, and he's talking to Tobey, and he's like, so you have web blood or something? Like, they're trying to figure out Tobey's organic blood.
And then there's the crazy thing is, I've watched this video how somebody tried to say, oh yeah, somebody tried to like release a video saying, oh, I faked it with deep fakes and CGI, right?
Yeah.
And then they did the science of the technology and stuff, and like all these professionals in the industry or like top level professionals are like, more likely he said he faked it by deconstructing what he actually, the actual stuff,
that was confirmed.
And then making the deconstruction.
That was confirmed. He literally just put in the leaked footage and reverse engineered it.
Yeah, and then said, "Oh yeah, I deep faked it." No, you just reverse engineered actual footage.
Exactly.
It's not
he couldn't prove where he got any of the footage from.
Yep. So
fucking idiot. Like I saw someone go, "Nice job, Disney. Good try to cover up."
That's why. I just said,
Blakey heard his name mentioned. He's in the chat now.
Yeah,
his ears were burning.
That's why I said, big shout out to Blakey, man. If we don't get the Spider-Man 3 guys,
I think we're gonna.
If we don't get them pointing at each other like before they have that sit down talk scene that we saw leaked, kind of, they should all kind of be like, wait a second, and then they all one at a time take off hood, and he's like, wait, I'm Spider. No, I'm Spider. He's like, well, look, you got web blood.
Yeah, it's coming, bro. It's 100%.
It's gonna be good, dude.
It just makes me wonder, though, with Spider-Man: No Way Home, how much of the Spider-Verse are they gonna put in before it's too much and it doesn't bode well for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2. You know what I mean? Because they still need an amalgamation of other Spider-Men to do that job. And I know that those are movie Spider-Man, but like they still use those like similar characters from the different universes Into the Spider-Verse.
I gotta drop a rumor right now. Okay,
This is something I drop the bomb, Pinto.
This is something I just heard today. Okay. And it fits in perfectly to the point that you've just made, Alex. So again, this is not confirmed. It is a rumor. It's not a spoiler. But apparently,
the bomb whistle.
Apparently, Sony. I just could throw that up at the screen for a second there. No, jokes. No, but so apparently Sony have been looking into linking. Obviously, you know, it's very well known that they're linking the Sonyverse and the 616, the MCU, together. And apparently what they're talking about doing now is bringing in Madam Web as a character, and she's going to sit in the Sonyverse, but she's going to form or create the Spider-Verse, and Tom will be included in it, but so will other Spider-Men.
I don't remember much from my childhood. I slightly remember Madam Web being like kind of like the leader of like a James Bond of Spider-Man. Like she gave out the orders and stuff. And I remember enjoying anytime I ever saw that. That'd be super cool to see brought to life.
Yeah, she's like a watcher herself, basically, but from the future. And if you watch the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, she was very heavily involved in
That's what I'm saying.
That series. They had
I slightly remember from that.
The last season of that show. Like I'm rewatching it on Disney at the moment. It's fantastic even to this day. But the last couple of episodes of the show are called Secret Wars, and then it goes into Spider Wars, which is like the Spider-Verse episodes where it's all the Peter Parkers from the different timelines. And like those 5 episodes of TV are just absolutely incredible. But so apparently what they're talking about is they're talking about a potential Sony-based movie with multiple Spider-Men, so Toby, Andrew, Tom, live-action Miles, you know, like a lot of Spider-Man. They do a single movie, like a Spider Wars movie, and then, you know, retrospectively people drop off onto other projects or whatever, and they'll probably throw Venom in there as well. I love the idea. I'm all for it. I want it. I know in the comic books they had, in like Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles was from a different universe. He basically gets brought in to like a multiversal war with Peter, and then after the events of the comic book, he goes to the 616 and lives there then, and that's how Miles comes into the 616. So I think that's what they're going to do. I think that, you know, they potentially introduce Miles in the Sonyverse. If like what I really want as a fan, I think what I want and what I think works the best is Andrew becomes the Spider-Man in Tom Hardy's universe, the Venomverse. I think that works the best because obviously Toby has already had his Venom, and I think the 616 isn't probably ready for a Venom yet. And I think, you know, potentially what they probably should do is have like Andrew, or even maybe they introduce a new Spidey and it's actually Miles' universe that Tom Hardy's from. So then they have a kind of Spider-Verse event. Miles then goes to the 616, and then maybe
I like that one the best.
Maybe something happens where Tom Holland's Spider-Man dies or retires or something, and then Miles takes over in the MCU for like Young Avengers and shit. Then boom.
I would love that. That's please listen. Sony, hire Fento. He's gonna get you guys a lot of profits. That would be such a mind blow if we've been watching this Venom and there's already been a Spider-Man lurking around that we just didn't know about. That's instead of like, why isn't Tom here? Like, because this isn't Tom's universe.
Yeah.
And what I've been waiting to say for a minute, kind of crossing over our shows, the guy they have casted as Tim Drake, I think would be probably a pretty good Miles.
I like him. Yeah, he's a good actor, and he fits the character pretty well. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like the idea of like the kind of what if that I kind of gave, but it's, you know, as well, I think, I don't know, like having two Spider-Man in the like the 616 would be really cool as well. Like, you know, I don't want Tom Holland to go anywhere. I want, ideally, and I've said this a couple of times, and it's my favorite theory of all, but I really, really pray that the first time that Tom Holland sees Tobey Maguire, he goes, "Uncle Ben, is that you?" And then it's like, Tobey Maguire is the 616 Uncle Ben, and he's died, and now it's like he's returned, and he's a different version of Peter Parker. It's like what they did in The Flash. In The Flash, it turns out that the guy who played Barry Allen in like the 1990s is actually his dad in the show. But then basically they go to a different universe, and there's a different speedster who plays a different character in it. But when Barry sees him, he's like, "Dad, is that you?" You know, and it's just like, oh my god, it hits so hard, you know. And then it's so like, yeah, he just loses.
So pretty much, Tobey Maguire is only his Ben because his Uncle Ben, because Tobey Maguire in that universe was Uncle Ben. Exactly. But then they're not giving us Uncle Ben; they're giving us I love that.
But
listen,
they're giving us Toby.
I'll get your contract. I'll get your contract sent over.
I think it's honest. I didn't come up with the theory, but I heard it, and I think it makes the most sense ever, and I think it would really work. You know, you have that connection, like Tom Holland. The second he sees him, he instantly is confused. He's like, "Uncle Ben, is that you? What the hell is going on? Oh my god, like, you know, where have you been? Blah blah blah." And it's like, "No, my name's Peter. What are you talking about?" And then it's like, "Hang on a second, you're Peter Parker." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm from a different universe." Then they have that connection automatically because he's always going to see his Uncle Ben. And then the events of No Way Home happen. I think all the Spider-Man live. I think they move into Doctor Strange 2 because it's going to be a Sam Raimi movie. Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire, ultimate team up. They kill Tobey at the end of that movie, and then Tom Holland has to watch his Uncle Ben die all over again. And like his mentor, his Peter Parker, the one that was meant the most to him, is dead. Boom.
That seems morbid though.
I know, but it's so good, bro. It's proper storytelling. It's insane.
Oh, of course.
It's insane.
Do you think they would ever do different universal movies? So what I mean by that is they continue the Venom story, but they have a different Spider-Man. And then on the Marvel side, working with Sony, is Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yeah. That's cool. I think that's where it's going. We're going to have multiple Spider-Man movies, not all Tom Holland movies. I truly think that they try and fix what they did to Andrew Garfield. I think Andrew gets his own movie after this. And I think potentially, if it goes as well as I think it's going to go, I think maybe Toby gets another movie as well. Sam Raimi and Toby finally make the Spider-Man 4 movie that they wanted to make and release in 2011.
We'll get
Andrew deserves another movie. He did the dirtiest.
Yeah.
Well, take this into consideration. If a Spider-Man dies, how about we let Doc Ock get into the mind of that Spider-Man who's perceived to be dead and do the superior Spider-Man?
Yeah, man. I think if they do like a Spider-Verse, live action Spider-Verse, you know, you get potentially Emma Stone as Spider-Gwen. You get we've already confirmed that there is a Spider-Woman show coming, and I believe Spider-Woman is related to Madam Web, if I'm not mistaken, in some way. I think there's a relationship between the two of them. Spider-Woman is related to Madam Web, So, like, I think it's all just slowly building together, you know,
bit by bit.
Yeah,
It's coming together.
Each piece of the puzzle is slowly being dropped by Sony and Marvel.
Dude, I wouldn't be mad even if Sony just did like redid, like not even redid, but kind of redid the '90s cartoon with Madam Web.
Yeah,
since there's a lot of Spider-Man that get involved in that.
Oh, bro,
I would.
Oh,
that'd be so good.
Ben Reilly, could you imagine Ben Reilly, 2099 Spider-Man? Like, just do that for a half an hour in live action. It'd be the best thing ever.
I need all the Spider-Man. I forgot about that until you mentioned that today, and I literally had like multiple flashbacks.
It's all on Disney Plus, guys. Sign up, fucking watch it. We are not sponsored. Yeah. But seriously, like I'm rewatching some of those episodes now, and like the little dude in my house will run into the room and be like, "Oh my god, you're watching Spider-Man," and he'll sit down and he'll be like, obviously never seen it, and he'll be watching just going, "Wow, this is so cool," and all. I'm just like, I just can't wait for him to be a little older so I can just start it from episode 1 and just be like, "Oh, you've got 5 seasons of magic coming right now." Like, even if you were to go through, like, next time you're sitting in front of Disney Plus, go find the series and just flick through the episodes. I don't even you don't just read the names, and it's like everyone's in it. You know, you've got like episodes about Doctor Strange, you've got episodes about
all the mutants,
Venom, Carnage, X-Men crossovers, Fantastic Four crossovers, Kraven the Hunter. This is all coming to live action now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is like ultimate fanboy stuff, because it's like we're getting all the stuff that we used to get up and be excited about watching on a Saturday morning in a cartoon. It's all coming now. Did you guys hear as well, just while I'm talking about this, apparently there was some leaked photographs of Charles Xavier from Multiverse of Madness. But
can you pull them up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently there's rumors that they're going to actually bring in the hover chair. So it's going to be, I believe it's going to be a de-aged version of Patrick Stewart, but he's actually going to be in the hovering chair. So he's from a different universe. It's not the Patrick Stewart we've ever seen before.
If they're already going to CGI him, hell yeah, let's hover chair him up, bro.
Exactly.
Hover chair is most superior version of Professor X.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now I know that most people were saying that the ending to Loki was going to cause like a catastrophe, and then you get all these other things going on. But like, how excited are we waiting for the Multiverse of Madness to show up and just cause the actual like events that we want to see, and not just the beginning of the multiverse?
I'm not gonna lie, a lot of my excitement right now is on Jon Snow's redemption arc in Eternals.
So I've actually never seen Game of Thrones.
What?
Well,
yeah.
Watch it, and then stop watching like season 6.
Until you don't,
bro.
Well, like, you guys don't remember?
I think I blocked out that entire conversation. The second you said that you hadn't seen Game of Thrones, I think I had a stroke, and then I just couldn't even understand the rest of the conversation. This is apparently the leaked picture, right? So this is like a 3D.
Oh, that is.
It's
3D.
It's ridiculous, bro. It's like it looks like it looks like
from the animated series.
Yeah, like no, it looks like a fucking action figure or something. But apparently this is the leaked 3D model that they're working off. But like, look at the fucking chair that he's sitting in.
I love it, because didn't that chair eventually have like Cerebro attached to it too? Like, you just always have Cerebro.
I believe so. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. So, you know, people said I was crazy talking about fucking Patrick Stewart coming back, but hey, look at this now. We see this week. It's fucking nuts, bro. That movie, as much as I am the biggest like fucking Spider-Man fan in the world, like, and I think No Way Home, it's going to be better than Endgame. I say this now, and I'm sticking by my guns. I think it's going to be better than Endgame. I still think that
Doctor Strange is going to be better than that.
Exactly. I actually think that's going to happen. I do. I agree. I think that's going to happen. I think
those two movies are single-handedly going to be the best movies ever released.
Yeah. It's going to be like
Marvel.
Because, you know, when we all sat down to watch Infinity War and Endgame for the first time, you just thought, like, this is the best that it's ever going to get. We're never going to get any better than this. And now I genuinely think that in the space of like 3 months, they're going to go and say, "Oh, you thought that, did you? Yeah, watch this." Like,
yeah, you know? I honestly did. I honestly felt that same way after Endgame. Like, how do they rebuild up something after?
Yeah.
And now it's like they're very quickly doing it. They're very quickly.
And
turning
then,
around and
of course, and then like if you think as well, like what we have yet to see, which is confirmed, you know, we've got like so much stuff. Hawkeye, which is gonna like unleash its own set of characters. A Daredevil, you know, there's talks of a Punisher coming back in. There's, you know, Ghost Rider. There's like Midnight Suns. There's all this stuff coming, and that's all confirmed. Blade confirmed. You know,
I really
Fantastic
just
Four coming. X-Men coming. It's all coming. And then it's like when it turns around and it gets to like when they finally bring the Russos back and they do like a Secret Wars or something fucking insane, it's like that is going to be straight from a comic book, because at that point we have everybody. And then like they've rumored they're going to be bringing Chris Evans back as Captain America, potentially more than one version of him. They could have like Hydra Cap as well from a different universe. And I think that goes back to what you were saying a few minutes ago, Alex. You were saying like, do you think they ever like do something like this, like a what if on the big screen? 100%. I think they do Secret Wars or something to that effect, where, or even they might do like Dark Avengers versus the Avengers, and they might have like, you know, evil variants of like, you know, Captain America and so on, and then they come and fight like the Avengers team that we have right now.
If we're getting Dark Avengers, I want Dark Avengers versus X-Men.
Yeah, of course.
I want that. Like, not Avengers versus X-Men, just Dark Avengers versus X-Men.
I just want them to go back and give Blade, Wesley Snipes' Blade movie, a Marvel intro, because that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I think the problem with that though is that the problem with that is though the Blade movie won't be rated R, so I don't think they can go as hard as the Wesley Snipes movies were. I think they have to kind of tone it down a little bit. It's not going to be like, you know, blood raves and stuff like that. But I think they'll do it justice.
I think, can't you get away with like one F-bomb without going rated R, right? You can
Yeah,
get, like,
I think it's like one or two.
Okay.
It's like one or two.
They need to have the best line of all time. Some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill. They need that line.
Either that or motherfucker, have you lost your damn mind?
Yeah. That's when he's in the hospital, isn't it?
Yeah, he gets shot, and he's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah. Oh, dude, so good. Like, I only rewatched the Blade movies recently, and they hold up. They're still so good.
I don't know. Triple H and Blade always was like lol to me.
I didn't mind it. You know, we had Ryan
Reynolds.
Yeah, we had Reynolds in that movie, and I just thought, yeah, this is cool. You know, it was definitely deteriorating, and like Dominic Purcell playing like Dracula was shit, but like at the same time, I was just all for it. Like by the time you come around to the third movie, like Blade 1 and 2 were so good, I'm just like, even if it slips a bit, I'm still in. Like, you know.
I just had a mind blow. Ryan Reynolds is the king of Marvel at this point. Canonically, he's been literally in the most. He's been in a Blade movie.
Yeah.
Green Lantern, which isn't Green Lantern DC?
Yeah, Green Lantern's DC.
Yeah, so
Green Lantern.
But still, he's the superhero legend at this point. He's been DC, Marvel.
Yeah. Well, like I think someone is. I saw a video on TikTok, and someone was saying that, like, you know, now we actually technically, because if you take the multiverse of madness into effect, Blade, which is a Marvel title, technically exists in the multiverse. So now we've technically canonized the original Blade movies. So you have Ryan Reynolds there. Then you have him in X-Men Origins. Yeah. A different version of Wade from the 50s, and then you've got Deadpool.
Then you have him in,
Deadpool in the Sonyverse, which is obviously going to merge
then
over.
Then you have him DC. That's 4. He's literally in 4 different superhero timelines. Like, what?
Yeah.
What a legend.
Oh yeah, he's a legend. He's a legend for sure.
Oh yeah, but I think that their direction to do Blade not rated R is just. It doesn't do it justice, man.
Crazy.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I said
even just for the gore, even for the gore alone, like you need that. Like the dude literally, some of the coolest scenes is when she's like, oh, the doctor that he saves from. If you haven't watched the original Blade, you're not gonna know. But he saves a doctor. She makes an vampire serum, which literally explodes vampires. One of the coolest scenes is he like kicks like 6 of these things into this thing's head, and it pops like a.
Yeah,
you need the gore.
Oh, of course, and I think I've said this from the very beginning. The second I heard that a lot of these characters were coming to the MCU, I was like, this is amazing because they got Deadpool and they confirmed that Deadpool was going to remain rated R. I was like, this is amazing. We're going to have like an R version, like a rated R verse, and it's like throw Wade in there, throw Punisher, Blade, Daredevil, Blade, you know, all these guys in there, Kraven the Hunter, and then you just Morbius, and you have all them just crossing over with. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or you just do.
It'd be so good.
You could do 6-part crossover series where you could do like, you know, the Punisher and Daredevil team up or something, or you do Punisher and Blade. Boom.
We need to invest in crypto so we can buy Marvel and do this.
Punisher, Punisher. Listen to this: Punisher and Blade teaming up to hunt down Morbius.
Here's another thing.
Or Kraven, or both.
Yeah.
And then Kraven goes into a Spider-Man movie because Kraven isn't his ultimate hunt, Spider-Man.
And then Ghost Rider catches up to Punisher.
As long as it's not Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider. As long as it's not Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider, I'm down.
Ghost Rider looking into Punisher's eyes and notices that there's no way to kill Punisher using his eyes because he has no remorse for all the killings he's done.
Hell yeah.
They just have a hilarious staring contest, and it's like a 3-minute silent scene where they're just staring at each other. It's like,
hey bro, could you put me down?
I can already direct this. It goes from dead silence when you're looking at Wade, the flames crackling when you're looking at Ghost Rider, to dead silence, flames. Oh
yeah, so good.
He's like, you've killed thousands of people. Do you not feel remorse? You kidding me?
Yeah. Put me down, bro. I got more people to kill. Yeah.
They all deserved it.
Yeah.
So, where do you think the mutants? Do you think they don't get brought in officially until Doctor Strange?
I think if you like do a Google search, you should be able to pull up, because I think there's a few mutants technically who have already appeared in the 616.
Well, yeah, technically, but I mean officially, where they make
the
it
main
like
guys.
out in the open. Yeah.
I think something happens after.
Not even main guys.
I
feel like they haven't even acknowledged the existence of mutants yet. I want to hear them say the word mutant. Like I know that they've all been around there, but like even right now, technically, Wanda is part mutant. I mean, if we're going by it, her dad is Magneto, right?
Yeah.
So she's part mutant.
Not in our universe, I don't think. But in the Fox universe. So I really, what I think is going to happen is Multiverse of Madness happens. The whole shit show happens. One of the biggest fights I've heard in that movie is going to be Patrick Stewart versus Wanda. And that's going to be the penultimate fight. Wanda's the main villain in that movie. So after the events of that movie, I think we have awareness within like Doctor Strange and the Avengers, whoever is going to team up with him in that movie, Loki and all these people. We have then the existence of mutants. So I think what happens is once the multiverse is closed or merged or whatever happens, then it's like, where are the mutants on our Earth? Let's go find Charles Xavier. Let's go find Wolverine. Who are these people? Where are they? Are equivalents? And I think what's probably happened in the 616, I think it's a perfect prime opportunity to recast and reboot. But then you have, it's like, okay, you know, Tom Holland goes looking for, or somebody goes looking for mutants. They end up finding people in hiding or whatever, and then boom, it's done. It's completely rebooted, recast, and it makes perfect sense.
I wrote you a few checks earlier. Be prepared to sign my check right here. Here's what they're gonna do, right? Magneto's he's a cold-hearted motherfucker. All right. In our universe, technically, Wanda's parents are dead from a missile strike, right? No, they're not, because they're not her parents. Magneto is her dad.
I was thinking the same thing.
He dropped her off and said, "Listen, I'm fucking Magneto. I'm Magneto.
Exactly.
I ain't taking care of no baby. Take this baby." And then that also gives you a chance to be like, "Oh, that wasn't even Pietro. Wasn't even really her brother. Here's your real brother, and his name's Ralph Boner. Let's go." Woo!
Yeah, like I think in the Fox universe, I think there's a scene where they pull up to Quicksilver's house, and I believe the postbox in the front says Maximoff on the front of it. So it's like, you know, he is like Pietro Maximoff, and obviously Wanda's not around in that universe.
Not even a Maximoff.
So I don't know.
She's not even a Maximoff. What is his last name again? Damn it, I can't think of it. Eric. What is Magneto's last name? Eric.
Oh God.
What is it? Why am I brain farting this? Finto, help me.
I don't know, dude.
It starts with an L, I believe.
I haven't watched the X-Men movies in so long.
Magneto.
Would you like to see? Go on.
Eric Lenscher.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lenscher.
So if they do something where they bring in a Magneto, do you want like Michael Fassbender, or do you want Ian McKellen, or like do you want a complete new person?
Fassbender.
I'm happy with Fassbender, honestly.
I like him too. I think his performance in, I can't remember which movie it was, but where he's in the woods at the start, he's kind of I think he's in Poland or something like that, and he's like kind of gone back to his roots, and he's had a family and stuff, and he's trying to hide away from the world, and then they end up finding him and just like slay his family and stuff, and he just ends up like destroying the entire
forest. He's got the metal, he's got this necklace on and the ring, and he just sends the ring to everybody.
Yeah, that is like, to me, some of the best like cinema, Marvel cinema, or like whatever.
He has no emotion during it either. He's just like sitting there broken, like tears in his eyes. Not even like, he just sits there motionless while it all happens. I love that.
Do you guys want to hear a tidbit about Magneto?
Yeah.
Eric Leshner is not his real name. His real name is actually Max Eisenhart. But when he killed everyone, he changed it to Eric Leshner.
Wasn't he technically Cyclops and Havoc's dad at some too? And
no,
I know that he went under their tutelage. Like Cyclops and Havoc trained under him for a while at some point in one of the comics. But I didn't know if there was like a weird connection. I don't know. Sorry, I just remember being a fan of Havoc, and I remember they went and I remember Magneto convinced them. I don't remember how he did it, but
no, his father's name is Corsair for some reason. Never heard of this guy.
I'm just very I'm very interested in the mutants coming into the 616, because I just want to know like how they do it. Like, you know, I think it's very well known to the Magneto story and all this sort of stuff that they're like survivors of World War II and all this sort of thing. So do you do something where they're old, or is it, I don't know. I don't know how you do it. Like,
we might actually get mutants next month if you think about it. What if the deviants are like what if like the mutants are kind of a branch of the deviants, you know? What if that's how they introduce it?
They are actually.
Yeah, that I was pretty sure while I was saying it wasn't my original idea. I'm pretty sure I've heard it somewhere. Mm-hmm. So what if we're getting mutants next month? Hell yeah.
I mean, it's possible. I know they're going to want to showcase all the deviants first, so we'll see how that pans out.
The big what if for me going with mutants is like, who makes the cut? Because like, you look at like, sometimes when I think of X-Men, I don't even think of them as Marvel, because I almost feel like the X-Men is their own like thing, because there's so much. Like Marvel, I think of like all the Marvel heroes, and then X-Men I always thought of like almost as their own org. Like, it's so weird.
What's even weirder is when you read the comics, because I think, you know, in cinema we've been led to believe that for so long, but when you're reading comic books, like I only started picking up Marvel comic books a couple of years ago and reading them. But sorry, one second.
They all hang out with each other for sure.
This is the thing. Like, they're all very much like in the comic books. Like, you know, Spider-Man is hanging out with Wolverine, and it's the most normal thing in the world. So,
but it's very faction based. Even like whenever there's a big threat, it would be like Professor X would be like, all right, I will talk to all of the mutants, even like the bad guys. He would be like, all right, hey, mutants, this is what's up. And then the Marvel would be like, all right, hey, we're going to talk to all these. And then there'd be like people for all the other worldly people, like the Fantastic Four would be like, all right, we're going to go talk to everybody that's crazy. I don't know. I think it's the future is really bright. We're going to have, me and Finto were talking about this offline the other day. Like, we are spoiled for content right now. And I don't think that's going to change for the next few years. I think we're just going to continue getting hit with really good content, and I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, like I highly recommend anybody who has never read it. I think go onto Book Depository, pick up a copy of like the actual Civil War, like paperback, and give that a read. Like Civil War, when it was told in the comic books, is insane. Like you have all the X-Men, you've got Daredevil. He's very prominent in the storyline. Like Punisher's there. Captain America's hanging around. Like he tries to kill Punisher at one point because he's just like, he's like, I trusted you, Punisher. And then he's like going crazy at him because like Punisher like tried to kill somebody or something. I can't really remember, but like I just remember it was just absolutely insane. Like Fantastic Four, everybody, all the X-Men, all the Avengers, and it's just like this is like the biggest team up ever, and it's just normal in the comic books. It's just crazy. I think by the time we get around to Phase 5 being like fully implemented, I think you do something like Civil War 2, and maybe that's like the death of Peter Parker or something crazy happens, but you can do it very comic accurate because you have access to all these characters now. It's crazy times ahead. Like the MCU can go for 15 more years easily.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, easily.
I mean, they could always kill Banner, as they did in Civil War 2, which is really crazy.
I'm just really, like I said, I'm just excited for the future. I think we're not really realizing. Oh, that's a big old skitty. I'm not even realizing
he was trying to press on the keyboard.
That's okay. How close to the end of the year we are, and then it's like it just doesn't stop. November, December. When is Doctor Strange? February, so we get 1 month off. We get January off. Oh, we get a whole month off of content. Boom, movie. Like, let's go.
Yeah, and like when you've got Hawkeye running in between Spider-Man and probably going into the new year. I think because it starts at like the end of November. So end of November,
probably
most
take
of
like
December.
A Christmas. They'll probably take like 1 or 2 weeks off, like everybody does for like Christmas, New Year's,
for sure,
and then stretch it out for January. Yeah.
Yeah, but then in like I think in December we're getting like Book of Boba, for example. So if you're a Star Wars fan, I think like what they want to do is they want to have like Disney Plus constantly pumping out new content.
Is Book of Boba, is that the next live action Star Wars content? Right?
Yeah. And that's like basically going to be like Mandalorian season 2.5. Like apparently it's going to be crazy. Because people were like kind of like, what the fuck? Why is like Mandalorian season 3 not out till the end of 2022? And it's like because we're getting Book of Boba next, and Book of Boba is basically just going to be a continuation of what we saw at the end of Mandalorian season 2. Wild, bro, wild. The Darksaber, Luke, Grogu.
Marvelous chats. Give it. Listen, we're gonna have every industry covered. Marvelous chats, Star Wars. Marvelous chats MCU, Marvelous chats DC. Chats go everywhere.
Did you like the thumbnail for Star Wars? It's got like the yellow kind of logo for Marvelous chats.
I more was the one that stuck out to me was the visions. I really like the Marvelous chats visions you guys had underneath.
Yeah. So like we've got like we're kind of branding it on the YouTube channel as like red for Marvel, blue for DC, yellow for Star Wars. You know what I mean? So it's going to be they're all color. All the videos are color coded.
Listen, you guys couldn't get a yellow. You guys couldn't get a yellow Kyber crystal if you.
I think Grogu's going to have a yellow blade in Mando season 2. It's coming, bro.
I'm still like, I'm having flashbacks to Rey making her yellow blade and calling herself a Skywalker.
Was it like orange or something? It was like I think they like made it that it was
yellow
like even
orange.
It was like orange, and it was like she's completely out there. Like it's just so fucking stupid, dude.
Like we're never even gonna see it. Like who? Listen, I honestly wish they would just redo that movie and make Cal Kestis the protagonist, dude. Make him the.
Did you hear? I believe that Finn is getting his own series.
Really? I'm surprised.
After episode 9.
Is this still gonna be John? Oh, Finn. I'm thinking of John
Boyega. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Still gonna be cast as Finn?
Yeah. He's getting his own. He's getting his own miniseries. Yeah, and he's gonna be a Jedi.
He's getting his own saber.
Yeah, he's gonna be a Jedi in it.
He's gonna be purple.
Doubt it. I don't know.
Oh man, I would love that for an homage to Mace Windu.
I bet no. Samuel L. Jackson is the type of guy that'd be like, no, all the motherfuckers get a purple. That's mine.
Well, if you watch our breakdown of Visions, shout out to the latest video on the YouTube. But in that, there's actually a Jedi who has a purple lightsaber, and the reason behind the purple lightsaber is that it's a Jedi who could tap into the dark side and use it without being influenced. So they actually use the dark side, but they remain in the light. So that turns the lightsaber purple, and that's why Mace Windu had a purple lightsaber, because he actually he dips into the dark side. So
ooh,
that's awesome.
Yeah, like it's very intelligent, and I think
is Visions canon, or is it just kind of
it's not canon, no. But it dips in it, like I know in real life Samuel L. Jackson turned around and said that he wanted a purple lightsaber. And George Lucas was like, sure, why not? I'm sure we can do that. And then he goes and writes it into canon in a very intelligent way. Like, I just think it's fucking brilliant.
That's awesome.
Is Finn filled with anger? I can't remember.
I don't think so. He's angry when you first meet him because he's very lost. He's part of the. He's a stormtrooper and a slave, and he doesn't really know where he belongs in the universe. But I think as the show goes on and he becomes a rebel and kind of gets into his own, I think he very much kind of finds his place, and I don't think he kind of is dripped in the dark side at all,
So in effect he wouldn't have a purple lightsaber at all.
I don't think so. Now I don't know. I think it would be kind of ridiculous to give the only 2 black Jedis in the fucking series purple lightsabers. I think that's kind of stupid,
Well, yeah, but the only reason why I want Finn to have it is because he has, since you mentioned it, he has been within the Death Star, and he's been a slave, and so he understands what it means to be angry.
Yeah.
And so which to me is kind of interesting, because that would mean that wouldn't Luke also be able to get a purple lightsaber? Because in the extended universe of the books, he's able to join the dark side, but I'm not sure how much how much it has to be that you can tap into it before it can, yeah.
It's obviously very gray area, and I think they've made a lot of legends. It's not canon, so I think they can kind of pick and choose what they want to allow into canon and what they don't want in canon, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, to be honest, is my answer. You would think that they're gonna, you would think that the way that they're telling the stories now seems to be very different, and this is why I liked Visions, because it kind of went back to the older way of things, the kyber crystal speaks to the user, and then that determines the color, whereas I think what they're doing now is in canon they explain, because I think when they originally brought Ahsoka out, her lightsabers are blue and she's a Jedi. Then when she leaves the Order, they turn white. But now what they're saying is that she actually, so for a Jedi to get a red lightsaber, or for a Sith to get a red lightsaber, what they have to do was they had to actually kill a Jedi and then bleed the Jedi's crystal and corrupt it, and that's what makes it red. But in Visions, and that's the way, and this is the way I learned it kind of growing up, it's the user, when they turn on the lightsaber, the crystal knows if they're light or dark or whatever they are, and then that determines the color. So you'll see in one of the episodes of Visions a bunch of there's a saber smith making these lightsabers for people, and he thinks he's making them for Jedi, but then when the guys turn them on, they turn red, the blades turn red, and you're just like, oh my god, fuck, they're Siths. You're like, holy shit, it's crazy.
I thought growing up, green always meant someone that was a strong force user, more so than a saber fighter. And that's why all the green ones were people that were really strong in the force side of the just force powers, and then blue was more the combat side. I don't know. That's what I thought I remember.
There is official some of them are called guardians, and there's other names and stuff. But you can look all that up. But I think since the Disney takeover, I don't know if they're changing stuff now. I don't really pay much attention to it. But
and wasn't white a red crystal that got cleansed?
Yeah, so that's apparently how now in canon how Ahsoka gets her white blades. They say is that she killed Inquisitors and took their red kyber crystals and like cleansed them to make them white.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, whereas the old way was she just literally the second she leaves the Order, next time she turns on her lightsabers, it's like she's a Force user, but she's lost. She doesn't affiliate with the Jedi or the Sith, and that's why she gets white. And I prefer that, to be honest.
Did they ever have canon as to why the Mandalorian one is the black saber? Why it's black? Because I know it's the only black one. Official.
Yeah, I think it's down to just him being a Mandalorian, as far as I know, because he was like the one and only Mandalorian Jedi.
I just gave him the.
I think he was just one of one, and then anyone who's used the dark saber since him has not been a Force user. They've just wielded it, so it's never changed from there because it's just been passed down from that one and only Mandalorian Jedi. As far as I know, that was my understanding of it. I might be wrong.
The only credit I'll give to the final trilogy of Star Wars is I did like how they finally had they added more variants into the lightsabers. Like Kylo's saber showed it was more not clean. It was more rough around the edges.
Yeah, it's unstable. Yeah,
it's a claymore.
I think, and I think that was down to there is an explanation behind that. I think it's down to him not being fully trained, so I don't think he could construct the lightsaber properly. So that's why it's unstable or something like that. Yeah, I don't really remember. I don't really pay much attention to the sequel trilogy. It hurts my soul too much. Like the second, episode 7 I thought was a good movie, and then you get to the end of episode 7 and I'm hyped as an Irish person because the last the island where Luke is it's in Ireland. They shot all those scenes and everything, so I'm like, oh my god, like my childhood hero is living in Ireland.
Did you go looking for the lightsaber?
No, I own the lightsaber. I have it, but
no. Did you go looking for the one that he tossed though?
Well, this is the thing. That's what I hate the most. The second he tosses that lightsaber, I'm like, that is my childhood. There, he's just thrown it off the edge of a cliff. That was when he lost. That's when they lost every. The
sad part is
Star
he felt
Wars
the same way too.
Yeah. They lost.
Part is he had to do it on screen, and he was getting paid to do it, but he felt the same way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course he did. But they lost. They lost.
Fucking Jake Skywalker. Goddamn Jake Skywalker out there.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, dude. It makes me so sad. But I'll say, episode 7 was pretty good, and I absolutely loved Kylo Ren. I thought he was a great character.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hearing feedback from myself somewhere.
Let me listen.
Feedback, testing.
Might be coming up from someone's headphones or something, because it's in test. No, it's gone now. Whatever it was, it's gone. I could hear myself talking there for a second.
Maybe it's me.
Did you enjoy it?
Because
you have a beautiful voice.
No, it might have been someone's headphones, maybe getting their mic. It might be picking it up or something.
I'm way too close.
You're in it, bro. You're in it. I love it.
It's not me anymore. I fixed it. See, never was me.
Never. We didn't really talk about Ultron.
And we didn't talk about Ant-Man either.
I was actually gonna say we should go back and check out the movies.
Yeah, for sure.
So I know we tied it in a little bit to the What If episode. Age of Ultron for me, good rewatch. Love it. Like I said at the very beginning of it, of the entire cast was, for me, it hits a lot of the nerdy notes, man, with all the technology and the science, and it holds up pretty well still. And then with the What If episode, it just made it hit a little bit harder this week.
Yeah, we got so lucky with that timing once again. I thought it was great. I love the relationship that Banner and Stark have in this movie's good, and I think they build in the first Avengers movie, they kind of tip the hat to each other. They respect each other's intelligence and greatness.
Well, obviously, and Tony,
yeah,
Tony being so smart, he also acknowledges that Banner is smarter than him.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's not so much Tony's engineering skills can't be vastly outnumbered. It's just Banner has way more fields that he can cover.
Yeah.
So that's one of the cool things about it.
For sure. And then I think what I love is that, like, they've obviously built a massive kind of relationship off screen, and then when you come back in, it's like the two of them are best friends. And I just love as well the kind of real world dynamic to that too, because it's like the two of them are very close in real life, so it's good to see them having such great on-screen chemistry as well. And when you go back and watch something like that, it just kind of makes me sad as well. Like, obviously, Robert Downey Jr. didn't want to do it forever, and I understand that, but I think they really missed an opportunity to have Reed Richards and Tony Stark on screen together. That's something that I'll really, because especially when Reed Richards comes in, whoever they're going to cast, and he is officially, as far as I know, I've read this before, but officially in Marvel, he is the smartest out of all the characters.
Oh yeah, that's
the whole
he's
number one.
King.
Yeah,
he is the smartest superhero.
Yeah,
that's how Kang exists, really.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like, I would have liked to see Tony potentially be, shown up and, embarrassed and, made kind of put in his place a bit. I think that would have been some really cool scenes that we will never get to see, but maybe we will. Secret Wars might bring Tony back.
I want a room that not only has, Stark and Banner and Richards, but also Pym.
Yeah.
Like, Pym is one of the most important characters in the entire universe for the fact that he created the Pym particle.
Do you think that, all these What If episodes and, like, Pym being a very kind of pivotal character in What If, do you think that maybe they're kind of doing that on purpose to get people who aren't, like, big comic book nerds to kind of think, oh, okay, this Pym guy is actually very important? Because, like, from what we've seen of him in the MCU, he's an old man, he's kind of, just in despair, missing, trying to find his wife and all this sort of stuff. And I have to
disagree with that. After we watched Ant-Man this week, they really do harp on the fact he's like, he even says in there, he's Iron Man technology. He goes, that's a man with toys. He says something, he goes, what I've done here with my research can change the foundation of existence. Like,
yeah, you've heard him say it, and you see it later on. But what I mean is that, the character himself is very much retired, whereas, like, Pym in other things, like in comics and in, like, even like in that Avengers game, he's younger and he's active, exactly. And that's the point I'm trying to make, is that the version that we have of him in the MCU, he's very much kind of the old man and he's retired, and any of his greatness that you see in the MCU is flashbacks. So
I agree.
Yeah,
I wish we did have that younger version of him that was more like kind of like Tony's age. But maybe they even have it. I think they kind of have to, because even in the comics he was the same age as Howard, right? Like, they were kind of the same age timeline, weren't they, or no?
I'm not too sure. I think he's more kind of Tony's age in the comics and stuff.
I mean,
but I think you could
they could retcon any of it with the quantum realm.
Well, you could do it technically, I suppose, if you wanted to kind of go back and maybe tell some stories in the past, to just kind of get a younger Pym in there, and then maybe, they just kind of tweak it a little bit, and then you have older Pym just become more important in Quantumania and stuff like that. So yeah, I think there's definitely ways around it. I'm sure this is a conversation that they've had in the writers' rooms. It's like, we kind of aged Pym a little too much, and we need to kind of bring him back. And I think this is the point I'm trying to make. I think this is why they're doing this in What If. They're kind of making you think that, oh shit, this Pym dude is actually the real deal. Like, and he's
incredibly smart.
Yeah, and he's destroyed some universes. He's very influential. You know what I mean? Like, what he does matters. And I think that kind of opens up then when something like Quantumania happens, that, like, because I think if you don't kind of build these little, like, connections for people who aren't, like, kind of sweaty fans, I think they'll like, if something crazy happens with him in Quantumania or whatever, they're kind of just going to be like, oh, what, this old guy, like, is making big moves and stuff. Like, it's kind of just the way that we've seen him in the movies. I think has just been him being very much kind of in retired age.
I mean, they can always do it in an Illuminati sense, where they're just kind of a council that just sits there and governs what's going on. So and then
I was going to say, just with the Illuminati, I think that's what they're saying is potentially going to be Patrick Stewart's involvement in Multiverse of Madness is he is a member of the Illuminati. So I think the Illuminati are definitely coming. Which is crazy.
It's so good.
Ah, bro, it's amazing. We're so spoiled. So spoiled.
Yeah. But before we actually get into Ant-Man, how did we all feel about Age of Ultron?
Yeah, again, like I said, with the rewatch, still sits at a solid 7.5 for me. 7.5, 8 out of 10. I just the what if, maybe that could be a little inflated because of the what if episode and just having those ideas and like seeing that kind of that in live action and just putting that in your head. But it's I don't know who do they have voice act Ultron.
James Spader. Jeez.
James Spader, yeah.
I don't
I almost said David Spade.
Maybe I don't realize it, but I guess I must be a secret ASMR lover or something. But like something about like a Benedict Cumberbatch or like a voice like they have for Ultron, that hits like that. Just it draws me in.
They're doing that on purpose, bro. Like that is 100% there like that for a reason. These people have amazing voices, and they hire these people like for that exact reason, you know.
Oh, so good.
He's got a perfect voice. Perfect voice. Age of Ultron for me, there's some really good moments in it. It's always been kind of a lower ranked Avengers movie for me. Obviously, it's the lowest ranked Avengers movie if you were to just rank the Avengers movies. But you know, I didn't really like the Hulk and Natasha romance. I kind of think it's just kind of put in there for, I don't even know why they put that in there, to be honest. It's just doesn't seem to fit for me at all.
I feel like they had been building that up since she was the first one that went and like found him, and I feel like had they not tossed it away after that movie, they could have had something good with that. And they kind of just made it really weird. Like that wasn't, even though it's weird to think like Mark Ruffalo, you know, ScarJo. The characters themselves, they had a good actual like connection. They made the chemistry feel believable. And just her being that I need the big guy right now, her being that one that like cuts the shit with them a lot. I just love that dynamic, and I'm kind of sad. I think they dropped the ball on that relationship, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they could have pressed more on the relationship because they are two reclusive characters. They tend to want to be left alone in most cases, and they've had shitty not so much Banner.
Monsters.
Yeah, they both consider themselves monsters because, you know, Black Widow isn't really fully able to like reproduce. She's been trained to do this for her whole life.
She got blood on her hands.
And she's got tons of blood on her hands. Banner's got blood on his hands because of his inability to keep calm during certain moments, and he's terrified of hurting other people. So, you know, they find a bit of a rapport right there and create a connection. And so then they're able to, you know, keep each other leveled. You know, one keeps the person calm, the other one keeps the person centered. And it just didn't output as much. Like, that's why I agree with Kyle. It just didn't output as much as we wanted to.
That's why I think it's just such a big ball drop. Like the way they left off too, and then for them when they come back, when we did see them like interact again, which was Infinity War, I believe, right?
Yeah,
it was the first time they interacted again, because he goes off to do the Thor stuff, and it's just like it's all completely gone. Like it's just not there at all.
It's years later, like, you know, I presume she's moved on.
But still, even then, there's not even like that. I think they have like a one-line throwaway. That's a conversation, buddy. That's not one line. That's a conversation. Like, he hung up that call on her and kept going through, like...
Yeah. And that's why I think, you know, I just don't see the point in it at all, because it's like... For me, it was kind of just put in there to have a kind of love romance in it, and then I think it's then just thrown away in a heartbeat, and then it's not even referenced when it comes back. It was just so pointless. Like, it's such a waste of time when you think back on it. Like,
I can agree with the end result. It didn't close properly. And so without that closure...
The closure they could have had was even just have her show up and be the one when he gets bifrosted down into the manor. Just have her be the first one, or have her get the news of it and be like, rushed to be like, hey, what's up? Like, just have her show some sense of urgency, because even if I'm over it. I'm still gonna want to know why you hung up the phone on me, years ago.
I don't know.
There should have been some sort of conversation.
Natasha's heartless. She's a badass. She's like, I don't think she's getting hung up on a fucking fella.
But I think her character development in this is her gaining a heart, because she does start to feel like, look back and be like, what have I done? I've killed these people that were like, families. Like they showed a lot in Black Widow how she was like really sad about hurting the girl, hurting the Taskmaster.
This is why I don't like interpools.
Piss you off.
This is why I don't. This is why I don't like interpools, man. Because like you get this sense of like change of heart or change of character in an interquel where you see in the next movie that's like part of the timeline, it shows nothing that says that they changed. It's like it's an afterthought. Like interquels are so horrible when it comes to that. Like if they're gonna keep the personality the same, that's perfectly fine. But she literally learned to at least open up a little bit to the people that she cares about, and she cares about Banner in the movies.
Yeah.
So it's so disheartening that there was no real closure.
I feel like there was almost like the way, and Findo's right, the way they have it written in almost feels like it was a placeholder romance until like, all right, now we got Vision and Wanda, so we don't need you guys.
We don't need that.
Yeah. It was like, you guys can flirt, but now that Vision's here, you guys can fuck.
This is the real couple.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I always thought if Natasha was ever going to get with anybody in the MCU, it was going to be Chris Evans, like,
because she didn't in real life?
Yeah. I think that their chemistry on screen has always been great together. Like she's never shown any interest in Banner really, like sexually or anything like that. And then it's like when we come into Ultron, it's like, what? They're a fucking couple? I'm like, I remember watching that for the first time, going, hang on, what's going on here? Like I'm like, hang on a second, have I like missed something? Did I miss a movie somewhere? Because like it's like Avengers ends and it's like, yeah, they're all just really cool friends and stuff like that. And then it's like Ultron happens and you're just like, what? You're like, what's going on? Because like even in Winter Soldier, she's like real flirty with Cap and stuff like that. Like, and she seems to be like just living her best life. And then it's like now she's
skip any courting that may have happened. Yeah, they skip any courting that may have happened. Like they have like an introduction. Like we know they know each other, and then it goes straight to like, wait, they're super into each other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like
there's no hint.
She even kisses Cap in Winter Soldier and all as well. Like I know it's just like for the mission or whatever, but I'm just thinking like I just thought like if you're gonna build a romance, like try and build on that, like because I think she's definitely into him. Like,
honestly, for this movie though, I give it I would say a solid 8, close to like 8.25, only because like it aged better for me as I got older. After watching this movie again, I'm a huge like Hulk fan. I'm also like I love Banner for who he is, and I feel like they gave Ruffalo more room to breathe in this movie than they did in the first one. Yeah. The first one made him very timid and whatnot. In Age of Ultron, he's literally standing next to Tony and helping him out and doing things with him and trying to actually work together and not just sit in the corner, which is really nice.
Oh yeah.
And the use of the stones like really started outputting more of how important each Infinity Stone is as we go forward. And also like I think the development of Ultron being with Tony Stark instead of Hank Pym is really interesting. It's a change of pace. I get it. It's because we didn't get Ant-Man at this point yet, did we?
No.
So because
Ant-Man's after.
Right, and since we didn't have Ant-Man yet, we couldn't have Pym create Ultron.
Yeah. That would have just been like everyone would have just been like, "Who the fuck is Pym?"
What? Yeah, who's Pym?
Yeah.
You don't know Pym?
Yeah, like what? You don't know Ant-Man? So funny.
Which speaking of Ant-Man, I'd love to go straight into that because I actually watched that right before this podcast. So
nice.
Still super fresh.
Yeah,
bro.
well,
8.5, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick on Ultron just before we leave. So for me, like I think definitely what you're saying, Alex. Like the rewatchability of the movie is definitely better. Like I remember seeing it for the first time. Obviously, we don't have we don't have what we have now. So at the time, you were like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Like, look, you're getting even more team ups. Wanda's in here now. We got a Quicksilver. It's great. And then I'll always like think back to Agents of Shield was pretty good at the time on TV as well, and they had the first proper kind of MCU TV and movie crossover, and it was just great. I just thought it was fantastic. And then, now looking back, obviously the movie itself starts to rate lower because the MCU just got so much better and better and better as it went on. But when you go back and rewatch it, I think it's still, if you were to kind of think of it as watching it for the first time, it's not as special. But for rewatchability, I think it is. Like, we start to see the real Thor. We start to see, Tony, obviously, like, as you say, like with the whole Ultron thing, I love that storyline because it's like, he obviously, after the events of like Winter Soldier and stuff like that, it's like, and the events of Avengers 1, it's like, we need to think of a defense for the planet because, the next big threat is coming from above. And I think he even drops the line, he's like, that's the end game, and it's like, yeah, spoiler alert, So yeah, I love what it was building. And obviously when you think back on it, it didn't really deliver when you compare it to everything else, but as a standalone thing, it's actually great. Yeah.
One of the biggest things I thought was fantastic about this movie was the foreshadowing. So the first Avengers movie was the foundation. The second Avengers movie was maybe a little bit of renovating here and there. And then like ultimately drawing a bigger blueprint for the future, because you see Captain America like yank the hammer and inch it just slightly, and it's that foreshadowing that everyone knew eventually he will hold the hammer.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite parts of the entire MCU, when they just nudges a tiny bit and Thor's chilling back with the beer and he kind of goes and he's like, oh, it's great. He kind of has that freak out moment. That
moment of relief is so good.
It's so good, dude. I
love like, nah, he wasn't gonna live it.
When they released, I think that scene was in like the original trailer for the movie, and I was just like, this is fucking gonna be brilliant. Like, it's gonna be so funny. They're all trying to lift the hammer and everything. It's like stuff we just were dying to see as fans at the time. And I just think, it's so cool. I love the back and forth between Tony and Thor as well, like trying to measure dicks and like, oh, my girlfriend's smarter than yours and all this stuff. Like, like the banter was just so good. And then, I don't know. It's great.
There were definitely a lot of fun moments with Age of Ultron. I felt like Age of Ultron was the fun movie in a sense. Like you just having fun with it. Now, Infinity War, you were having a little bit of fun, but it was really like hard pressed. It's like, oh god, we gotta beat this guy.
We have a world-ending crisis right now. Yeah. Another one of my favorite parts of Ultron is where Hulk jumps into the Quinjet at the end, and when he throws Ultron out, you just hear Ultron go, "Oh, for God's sake!" He just gets ripped out. It's so fucking good, dude. It's so funny. It's so good, dude.
And Ultron is a massive threat, because had he gotten any stronger than that, like he could have been an intense threat to anyone, which is what we see in the What If episode.
That's the What If. Yep, there's the link to What If. This is what could have happened. So good. So good. Yeah, like
this movie, it had two links too, because I don't know if it hit any harder for you guys watching it this time post WandaVision, but I think WandaVision definitely helps this movie too. You get to go back and be like, oh yeah, Pietro, you see Wanda kind of coming into her own and her beginning connections with that Mind Stone. And I remember I had watched it right before we watched WandaVision. I watched Age of Ultron then too. So I think it really, the connective tissue that you mentioned earlier is just getting much stronger.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You see everything kind of tethered together, and you'll see like a web of things that actually correlate with everything else. And that's how they get more ideas for what to do for the future of the MCU.
Yeah, 100%. And like, it's funny, like seeing, like Wanda's quite powerful, obviously, but she's nothing compared to what she is now and what she will become next. Like when we see her next, she's going to be the most dangerous fucking being in the entire MCU. Like Feige has said she's the most powerful thing in the MCU.
She's the most powerful thing in the comics too.
Yeah. So it's like,
It's
that's coming. Like she's gonna be
House of M, Scarlet Witch is
God, and there's so many different universes of no more. It was like no more humans, no more powers.
Yeah,
like
no more mutants.
Her voice, her voice just straight up causes trouble.
Yeah,
and the only one that even gets like close to doing anything is Professor X. Like he literally will be like, "Yo, stop," and she'll be like, "But my children," and he'll be like, "They aren't real," and she'll be like, she gets mad and rage.
Yeah.
Just
well, like there's a famous interview with Elizabeth Olsen. I think during the Ultron press tour, she's kind of asked like, oh, what would be the like, where do you want to see the character going? And she says House of M. I would love the House of M. But she's like, I don't think it would be dark enough for the MCU to kind of give her children, tell her that they're fake, and then she flips out and all that. That's exactly what's going to happen.
not only are they fake, but the devil's responsible.
Yeah, they're parts of the devil's soul.
Yeah. So
I know,
like,
she's going to turn full villain. I can't wait. It's going to be epic. So, Kyle, I will let you wait no longer. Talk about Ant-Man.
Oh, okay, Ant-Man. 8.25. Not enough. 8.5 minimum, maybe even a 9. This is, I think, Ant-Man, as far as if you're looking at the solo hero movies, top 3, or maybe even my favorite. It's my favorite solo hero movie, I think. And then if you're looking at like all of MCU, it's top 3. Just, it's good, dude.
Somebody loves Rudd.
It's not
Everybody
even that.
loves Rudd.
I love the whole
No,
cast,
that's true.
dude. Lewis,
That's true.
Like, so many things in that movie I realized were just so funny. Like, one thing, like when the cops are knocking on the van towards the end, and they both are just shushing each other for no reason. Like, we've all been in that. Like, the shush is louder than just being quiet. They're like, shush back and forth. Like, little stuff like that.
I love the bit, where they pull up to his Lang's house. And all the cops are outside. And they're like, back it up.
Nope, just back it up.
Just back it up. Back it up. That's so good, dude.
Some guy that just looked like me put us in the back of this van.
No, it's excellent. Like, and I think Paul Rudd has a lot to do with even, the comedy that's brought to it. I think they all wanted cast members to really play off Paul Rudd's comedy, and I think it hits home so well.
The pacing is maybe the best pacing I think we've seen in the MCU. The pacing is just so on point. You get just enough of the beginning, and they're so self-aware too. Like when he first gets out of prison, and he's like, "Yeah, this man," and they're like talking about the bank heist the way movies always do, like where they talk about somebody like they're not in the room, and then he broke in there, and then even like Paul Rudd goes, why are you telling these guys my whole life story? Like, he even they're so self-aware that like movies do that, and he's like, what do you want from me? And it hits on so many levels. It paces well into him getting the suit and training, and there's some parts of it that, I mean, it's not a 10 out of 10. It's not a perfect movie, but I don't know, it hits on so many cylinders for me. And it could be partially because I'm excited for Ant-Man 2. It's another nerdy thing, man. It's the reason why I like Age of Ultron so much. You start getting into that nerdy science type shit into these movies that are fantastical already, but then you actually throw in like nerd science stuff, quantum realms and subatomic levels, and that's my happy place.
Yeah. I don't blame you, dude. I don't blame you. It's magic. It's magical watching it all.
It's so wonderful watching that show, and I give it an 8.5 for sure. I really loved all of it. Like, it was fun. It was enjoyable. It was silly. Paul Rudd and Michael Pena work so well together.
Michael Pena is a
insane.
Fucking legend in those movies, bro.
It's
just
so
him
good,
telling the
dude.
stories, like, my cousin did this, and like when he's telling the stories, and they actually have the characters in the stories mouthing what he's saying. It's comedy gold. It really is. Like,
it's Michael Pena, dude. Like, it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Observe and Report.
Yeah.
That's still Michael Pena. Like, oh man, I'll steal shit.
Yeah. Bro.
He's like,
it's so good.
Man, whatever he says when he knocks that guy out, and he's like, this is a totally serious business situation or operation right now. It just, he everything he says to me is funny. He's one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, at this point, Disney has the rights to Marvel, right?
Yes, I think so. Like, you
Because I
mean as in the
heard,
full Disney merger? Like, is that what you're
I
like, the
think,
full Disney merger with Marvel? Is that what you're talking about?
I think so because Michael Pena is like whistling "It's a Small World."
Yeah, because I think wasn't it? It was actually the first Avengers movie was the first movie after the acquisition, as far as I'm aware, because
Really?
they needed the Disney money to actually make that movie when it first came out. So it was like
Okay,
they
gotcha.
needed Disney to actually do it. So it was like, they needed the 4 billion that Disney paid for them to actually make the movie, because it was such an extravagant thing at the time. That was my understanding. That was what I heard.
Hmm.
I think
But yeah,
it's
like
referenced in a
we
TV
get.
show somewhere.
God, what's that? What's the other dude's name? Who's with Michael Pena? Like the gang. The one who's
Ti.
Ti, yeah, he's actually very
And
no,
then
funny.
Kurt.
yeah, Ti
Kurt,
is great.
Yeah,
What's the other
the
guy?
guy that plays Kurt.
Oh, I
It's the
can't
guy
remember.
from he was in the What If episode, the Russian
yeah,
Kurt.
yeah, yeah. The
The
Russian dude.
Kurt?
hacker.
Yeah,
Oh, that's his name.
yeah,
Yeah,
It just
his name's
sounds so
Kurt.
weird that his name is Kurt.
yeah. I thought that was such a random thing for him to be in What If, because it's like, because I know, like,
Yeah,
my girlfriend turned to me and was like, "Who the fuck is this guy meant to be?" And I was like, "It's actually part of Lang's crew in Ant-Man," and she's like, "Oh yeah." It's like, why is he here? And it's true. I don't know why he was there. Kind of
It's so
pointless.
strange.
I think they're really doing a lot of What If is using a lot of underhands because I bet he's gonna be back in.
Oh yeah,
Uh, yeah,
Quantumania and all. Yeah, like, definitely you need to. I suppose what they're trying to do is maybe like keep these characters fresh in people's minds by, it's like, oh, we'll bring him into What If, and people are like, oh yeah, yeah, I forgot about that guy. I wonder what he's up to now in the 616, and it's like, boom, hey, he's back in Quantumania, or he might appear
And
in
then
something before.
one of the things is that I forget how amazing Michael Douglas is. I wish I had seen him in more movies.
Yeah,
Holy crap. He's just an amazing cast as like him.
yeah,
Hank Pym, like he's so good. Like that moment with Scott and Pym, like they were talking, and then he's like, "That's it. Like, I'm not gonna break into areas and steal some shit. I'm clean. What do you want me to do?
break
I
into some
want you to
place,
break into
steal some
steal
shit.
shit."
Yeah, no, it's very good. Yeah, and I think Kyle talked about it earlier, like, him dissing Stark and stuff like that. You're just like, oh, this is brilliant. It's so
So
good.
I loved
Yeah,
it. He's like this guy in this technology. He goes, what I do here changes like reality, and I don't know. I loved just like the heist. They have like so many different aspects. The heist part of the movie. When he actually, like I said, the training scene. Obviously, my wife is a zookeeper for insects, so them using all the proper Latin terminology for the ants, stuff like that. Which is kind of why it's not a perfect movie because listen, someone gets bit by a true bullet ant, they're not conversating after that. I don't know if
they're
you guys have
are
ever
they
watched the
dead?
guy that they're not dead. If but like they said in there, it is like ranked amongst the top. Some of the top pains in the pain index scale. There's this really cool, super off topic. There's a guy actually that literally gets bit by all these pain index things. At some point in your life, go watch someone get bit by a bullet ant. Unless this is a Texas bullet ant, which there is a species of bullet ant that's in Texas, you're not conversating after that, okay, buddy?
Is there a species of bug that actually like attacks incredibly fast? I could have sworn there was a bug that does that,
Um, I
like
don't
a
know what
type
you
of
mean by that.
wasp or something. Like it's able to sting at rapid like in rapid succession. I don't know.
Maybe. I think anything that you can think of, yes.
Probably.
There's so many of everything. I love like how they actually have fire ants use like a raft for that portion of the movie. Just there's so many parts of it that hit well for me. So I love it.
Meech,
I wish we had more.
Meech
Yeah,
is
bite. Listen, yeah, she's trying to yell at me because bite and sting. Listen, we know they know damn right what I'm talking about. Brave Wilderness, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Blakey. But yeah,
right.
I think I'd love that. I think that could be why, again, I rated it so high, is because I know we're getting Quantumania soon, and some of my favorite parts of that movie are when they're talking about the quantum realm and just that whole aspect of like it brings time travel into it. Now it even kind of maybe even ties into the TVA. Like there's so many things we have that.
Well, as we go forward, Kyle, like my question is, are we going to still see ants in Quantumania, or are we just going to be without them for the time being? Do you think we're going to have more ants show up like we did in the first Ant-Man movie?
They can't in Quantumania, I don't think, because obviously they're subatomic level at that point if they're in the quantum realm. But I feel like they need at least like Antony. Antony's a good point.
Didn't Antony die?
He gets shot by a fucking bullet, bro.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, kudos on that guy's aim for hitting an ant with a bullet. Like, secondly, how dare them? That was super sad.
It really was.
Even like gave him like a screech. Like it even said like ant screeches like when he gets hit and then the wing falls. I couldn't believe they did that.
You had closed captioning on?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Meech has to have closed captioning. We won't. She likes to read her movies.
No, I completely understand. Katie does the same thing because in some cases we might be conversing. So
problem for me with closed captioning a lot of times is when they don't match perfectly. When I see spell check errors, there's a lot of problems with closed captioning.
Yeah, it can cause trouble.
Spell check errors. Sometimes they spoiler shit for you by telling you characters' names that you haven't met yet. They're like, oh, I guess this is who this is now. Like, I've had closed captions ruin things for me a lot in the past. I think one time they like had a character's name, his true name, after he had been pretending to be someone else in a show or something, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, closed captions can be a real bummer.
It can be a detriment, but like they are nice when it comes to things like translating certain words. Like I was just watching The Boys, and one of the characters, the Kimiko's brother, was talking in a language, and I couldn't understand it, so I had to activate closed captioning just to read what it was. So like but anyways, it's really cool that we see all the ants, and I really hope to see them again in Quantumania. I know we're probably not going to see them, but I would love to see like a new set of ants, like going in almost like an army.
Well, I know Finto's got a full body pillow of Antony, so that he covers with every night.
Dude, yeah, like I don't know. Sorry, I had to step away for a minute, but I presume what you're talking about is the lack of ants in the second movie, is it?
We're thinking that there's not going to be, well, there wasn't really any second movie, and there's probably not going to be any in Quantumania just because they're subatomic, probably.
Yeah.
We're talking about how, like, that was one thing I loved about the movie, is super accurate. The conversation started off how, like, the ants use the rafts, super cool stuff like that. And then we brought to the fact that the dude actually shot Antony with the bullet, which is not only bullshit, but tragic. Like, dude hits a flying ant with a gun. If you can hit that, bro, sign me up to your aim.
Best marksman in the world.
I call aim hacks, honestly.
But yeah.
Let me ask you guys this. Maybe you might know this. Wasn't Yellow Jacket, or am I wrong? Wasn't Yellow Jacket Hank Pym gone wrong? Like he got mad, and wasn't that originally in the comics like how that went? Like Yellow Jacket was still Hank Pym, just angry and upset, or was it somebody else like in the movie here?
It was a person in the movie. I forgot his name all of a sudden.
The Darren. It was the same one in the comics. Darren Cross. Okay. For some reason, I thought that Hank Pym himself took on the Yellow Jacket role.
Well, like I presume that's the what if episode, right? So I suppose it's a scenario.
Oh yeah, because I saw him. Listen, this is a part of short-term memories. I forget things, and then I think that that makes sense because it was in the what if episode.
Yeah, so he was Yellow Jacket in what if. Now I hear the Yellow Jacket's going to be actually returning for Quantumania, so
maybe he does come back
when they go into the quantum realm. I presume they're going to find him. That would be my guess, because remember he shrinks.
Maybe
down.
He's been driven mad. Yeah, he's been driven mad.
Yeah, I think that's what.
Or he Or he's in Chronopolis, like he ended up in Chronopolis.
Imagine he was holding the zombie virus, and he was the one who brought it back when they try and bring him back.
That'd be really cool.
I think they do a live action like zombie show or something like that. Although I don't know how hard you can go with it because it's going to destroy the entire MCU if you do. You know.
Reach hate zombies. I'll be watching that alone.
I love zombie stuff. First couple of seasons of The Walking Dead were just
Walking Dead,
so good, dude. First few seasons,
good,
so good, but then it just got kind of old fast.
Shit.
Yeah.
I think it got milked so hard that I just got over zombie stuff. Like I used to be so into zombie things.
It stopped being about zombies. It wasn't like a show like zombies were just parts of the show. Like they'd walk by them and poke them with their finger in the eyeball or something. By the end of the show, like they just weren't a threat anymore. First couple seasons, like a zombie broke into your like they were a threat and they were scary. Then it got to the point in the show where they were mashed potatoes and you just walk by and mushed them.
Favorite zombie movie? Go.
If I don't say, is that a zombie movie technically?
I don't think I have one. I keep thinking, and I don't think I have one.
28 Days.
I can't pull anything out of my head.
Is Army of Darkness considered zombie?
No, those are. Well, that's Deadites.
Yeah. If you could somehow throw that in the zombie. If it's not, if you can't consider Army of Darkness zombie, then I go 28 Days. 28 Days is super
Phenomenal.
scary. Like
Phenomenal.
Dude, when they're just like walking on the bottom of that river, bro. Well, like even just like when you think, oh yeah, we'll just cross the water, and they're like, they don't need to breathe. They just start going like, oh, that got me. That still gets
just
me.
Even the scene where he sees in 28 Days Later, where he goes into the church and he's like, Father, and your man turns around, he's like, bah, 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 and he starts sprinting after him. I was like, oh my god. I was like, this is terrifying. What a film.
What was the name of the strain? It was
weeks is better. Oh my god, Blakey, that's controversial, dude. I don't know.
I think this wasn't the strain called Rage or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
I would say Zombieland just because it's fun.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's fun.
Yeah, Zombieland's funny.
Yeah, it's called the Rage virus. You are correct.
Oh, I'll never forget the end of 28 Days Later when the dad gets the drop of blood in the eye, and he just knows he's turning, and he's like, "Get away from me!" Oh, it's like such phenomenal acting. Oh, bro, fucking what a film!
I haven't watched those movies in a long time. I still remember what the virus is called.
So good, bro. So good. I want to rewatch them now, thinking about this.
Dude, you know what I've been slowly so excited for? And we're going to have to, like, skip forward our rewatch. We're going to have to, for Spider-Man, for us watching Spider-Man before Spider-Man, I'm excited.
So
I think, honestly, we need to do, before the new Spider-Man comes out, we should just go full, like, Spider-Man month. We should watch Tobey Spider-Mans, Andrew Spider-Mans.
So I don't know if you pay attention to the Discord, but I put in a note in the Discord today, and I said I was going to drop something very controversial and very serious subject-wise today on this podcast, and I'm going to do it right now. What I did today was I watched the third Spider-Man movie with Tobey, and guess what? I fucking loved it. I haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen the movie since 2007 when it first came out. I honestly hated it at the time, but stay with me. The movie is fucking brilliant. It's fucking hilarious. I love the fact that it's so bad in certain parts that now it's become legend. Like, you're watching it and all the memes that you see, all the TikToks, everything, it just comes flooding back. Like, it's just so good. Venom was obviously terrible, but at the same time,
his one-liners are so bad. They're the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
I liked Topher Grace was actually quite good as
if you know
Eddie
what
Brock.
I'm saying. I still literally don't even know what the joke was that he said, but I know the way he said.
My spider senses are. He goes, my spider senses. He picks up Mary Jane and he's like, my spider senses are tingling. If you know what I mean.
I didn't need that flashback. Like. So bad, dude.
Oh,
it's
bro.
So
honestly, though, right? Like, there's a lot of good in the movie, though. You know, the Sandman story is incredible. As much as the CGI on the Venom suit itself is shit, I kind of like this. Like, the origin is told correctly. You know, the symbiote merges with Peter first, gets the powers. Even I noticed, like, rewatching it, like, when Eddie's actually shooting webs, he's shooting them the same way, like through the top of his hand, like he does in the comics and in the cartoons and stuff like that. I'm like, you know, Sam Raimi knew what he was doing. Now, it didn't hit as well as it would have today. And one of the questions I was going to say to you is, picture that movie, but put a better Venom suit in it, and I think it hits a lot better. And I think if you were to take out some of the like stupid cheesy stuff, like, you know, the whole like emo Toby and stuff like that, like if you remove those scenes from it, it's actually quite good. I like the whole like thing between like the Hobgoblin. Right.
You're only trying to get away with this shit because Drunky ain't here.
I will talk about this every single fucking week until the movie comes out. I honestly don't care.
I think the Venom suit was good in that movie. Way better than the Venom suit we have currently.
I hated his mouth. The mouth
was
like too stupid looking.
Yeah, but I like how it kind of like the way the actual symbiote interacts with them.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's good. I loved the he actually had the spider logo on his chest and on his back and everything.
Exactly.
It's more accurate.
If they took that Venom and made that Tom Hardy's Venom, I'd be stoked. Like you said, I love the small things like the top of the web Venoms. Oh.
Yeah.
Like do the PS4 one. Where's the PS4 one?
Like honestly, dude, right? If you're actually if you take the best parts of both of these suits and put them together, that's like the proper Venom. So like maybe take Tom's eyes, right, and Tom's mouth, but the rest of Topher's body and suit, and that's the real Venom, you know. But then you make this Venom,
the one from the game.
This Venom's too small. Sure, you only see his face. It fucking looks just like that.
Right.
But I think they made this Venom too small. I think like if you were to make him the same size, no, I mean physically in height, like he just looked like a kind of deformed Spider-Man. Whereas you need to make him bigger, like, you know, he needs to be the size he is in Tom Hardy's movies. Then it makes sense, you know what I mean?
Whichever one you guys said got announced at that PlayStation 5 one, that's the best looking one I've seen.
Yeah. Like
just for the face? Yeah.
Yeah, the face.
Of course.
The face the face is great.
Anything you do within a video game, it's going to be perfect because that's how they can design it.
Well, I like the one that they do that you guys showed. It showed the whole body. It had like the back. It had the back very accurate. The eyes were bigger than the one on the left. Yeah,
man. I just gotta say, like, I rewatched that movie today. I was just like really pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed it. And, you know, I can see the fucking greatness in the movie. And then all the bits that are the worst parts of the movie, I was cracking up laughing at them. And I just thought it was just so much fun. And I think the internet has now saved that movie because, like, honestly, when we go back and rewatch this again, you're gonna like you'll be doing the Leo pointing at the screen every single time you see all of these clips, like, you know, where he's like sitting in JJ's desk putting his feet up and he's like, I want the job and all, like, and you're just like, oh my god, this is in so many memes and all, like, it's just fucking brilliant, man. Like, the internet has turned this into a different movie than it was. And I completely forgot Gwen Stacy's in it and everything. I completely forgot there was a Gwen Stacy story, and it's just great. Like, it's so good. Like,
that's a what if in and of itself. What if Gwen Stacy lived?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think it has the same potential that you said. They need to do that. If they don't do that, Venom taking over Spider-Man and the current either Sony or MCU at some point, we're getting robbed, because that's some of my favorite Spider-Man content is when he's like having a battle with the symbiote himself. So like he has the double power.
I have an idea. So let's say everything happens that we know is going to happen. Tom Hardy comes into the MCU. He has an altercation with Peter Parker, aka Tom Holland. A bit of the symbiote mushes onto our Spider-Man, the 616 Spider-Man. He then gets the black suit, slowly starts turning, blah blah blah, goes back over into the Sonyverse, and then like basically gives back the suit. But I think it works. I think it works.
We can't have. I don't want this current iteration of Venom is the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah,
but it's like. But if they try to drag it over, they're gonna have the same fucking stupid voice actor.
What they do is they then bring what they do is they have a 616 version of Eddie Brock, who's a different actor, and they do a complete like recast. and then they tell the story right, but they use the symbiote from the Sonyverse, if that makes sense.
No, the symbiote from the Sonyverse is the problem, though.
No,
I'm trying to say, like, I'm hungry.
Look
I
at
will eat the voice actor they have for him.
No, it's bullshit.
Everything they're doing.
Look at the design of the suit, though.
Like,
if you look at the design of the suit for Spider-Man 3, it actually looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's just the face is causing the trouble.
Yeah, the face was too like demonic looking. That's what I'm saying. If you take Tom Hardy's face and just drop that on this suit, but make him the same height as Tom Hardy, it's perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
It works
Venom
well.
And, Venom and Spider-Man 2 game is the best.
Spider-Man 2. Oh, jeez. I know that Spider-Man 2 is a fantastic game, so I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
He means the new Spider-Man 2, the new one coming out in 2023.
Venom I thought. Yeah, that's what I've been trying to say from the beginning. Is that one that you guys showed me that they talked about? That shit, like you the day that we talked about that is on the podcast. And you pulled it up. I saw that image and I was like, oh,
bring up that trailer. Bring up that trailer, Alex. Let's watch it now because I don't think you've seen it, have you?
No, I've seen the trailer.
Okay.
That one, that mixed with like the honking horn Venom, that's what I need. I need both sides. I need the terrifying Venom and I need the Venom driving down the road honking the horn.
I think honking horn Venom is Topher Grace though, right?
Oh my god, no.
I think
He's
that's
too
like
small.
no, I know, but it's the Joker kind of the Joker version of him. Like
that was really funny. You said you watched that same day.
I only watched it the same day, bro. How weird is that? The world does weird shit like that to me all the time, bro. It gets me with all these like confirmed, like it gets me with all these little crossovers. Like, oh, I had one yesterday. What was it? Oh my god, my girlfriend said like a catchphrase or something that she like would never. None of us would never say it in like conversation. And then we were watching something later, and it came up again. But the two of us just looked at each other like, "What the fuck?" Like she only said it to me earlier. It's not something she's ever said to me. And then we see it in a TV show like 3 hours later. I'm like, the world is crazy.
It really is.
Did you want me to pull up the video?
Yeah, go on, throw it on. Sure, we may as well since we're on a little bit of a Venom buzz right now. It's Christopher Reeve's birthday. Jesus, 26th. It's my sister's birthday. Tomorrow's 26th. And Clint Master Flex's birthday as well on the same day.
Really?
Clint wasn't born.
Yeah, my sister and Clint, I think they shared the actual same birth date, like the exact same day, as far as I know.
Oh, God.
Oh, they're the same age?
Exact same day, same year, everything. Let's see if this works audio-wise. I want to see if I can actually hear this on your side. Go, play.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, we got it. We got the audio. I'm just going to get used to share shit from now on. So then because I don't have a proper, like, full second screen, so this actually works perfectly.
You want me to do it?
Yeah, sure. It's fine now. No, it's good. It's good.
One who could push me.
I just like that I can see us on the side, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Just makes breaking down shit even better.
One who could even beat me. Yet all I found
Craven
is disappointment. Will one of you finally give me what I desire?
So shiny.
It's beautiful. That beautiful ray tracing.
Yes. We will.
I nearly cried when I saw 2023 though.
Literally, that right there is better than any Sony Venom content they put out.
Insomniac are just telling the best Spider-Man stories ever. Like it makes me want to go back and like replay the original games. I actually genuinely think when I finish Far Cry 3, when like for my next kind of story mode playthrough, I think I'm just gonna do a game plus of Miles Morales on PS5. Just because I just want to play it again.
I still haven't played it. I need to play it.
So good.
I'm almost done with Ghost Runner. I'll play it.
Do you have it on PS5?
You gotta watch here soon, Finto. Let me see the title. Spider-Man without CGI then and now from Screen Rant. They literally talk about like the designs of the Spider-Man suits throughout the different movies, and you'd really love it. They talk about how like with Andrews, they purposely tried to make it like show that it was something that he could actually build himself. They used the bottom of sneakers for the bottom of his suit. Yeah. They showed him building it. And then they took feedback from that one and then brought in it. It's a really good video.
Yeah, posted.
It's 8 minutes.
Posted in the Discord.
We could watch it now.
I'm kind of thinking of people who might be listening to the podcast on Spotify and stuff like that. Like I don't want to be doing too many videos in a row. It's kind of hurts for them.
Yeah.
But post it in the Discord, and we'll watch it. Or if people want to watch it, just throw it in the Marvel. So discord.gg/Pinto182. You can go watch it in the Marvel section.
Podcast. Oh, Marvel.
Just as under MISC, there's like just a Marvel section. Just post it in there. It's like just because the podcast stuff is only locked down to us. It's privileged hosts only are allowed in there.
Yeah, so that's a really good video. It talks about how they go advancing into where Tom, you can actually see a lot more Tom doing his stuff because they didn't have to CGI the face, and also because Tom is an amazing specimen who can do athletic shit.
Yeah, he actually is. Like, he's a gymnast and everything in real life. And
they said he was in this like theater school that was known for dancers, but then after that he got into gymnastics himself, and it showed him like practicing his Spider-Man jumps.
Yeah, he's a legend. Like, he's been wanted to play Spider-Man for 10 years. He just went and did it. Nothing but respect for him.
As we're talking about Tom Hardy and Venom and whatnot, are you guys excited about next week when Venom 2 drops?
No.
I'm gonna go see it, and they were like, I'm actually so much more hyped for seeing it now that I know the end credit scene. I'm gonna go see it just to actually see the end credit scene because it ties into the MCU.
It has to. I mean, it's Sony, so they want to work well with Marvel and get their money's worth. So
yeah. And you know what? When we did our breakdown of the Spider-Man trailer, I saw something in the trailer, but I purposely didn't say anything because I didn't want to potentially, start up shit. But there's a fucking frame in that trailer, and it looks like people thought it was the Scorpion trying to attack Tom Holland from behind. But if you actually watch it in slow motion, it actually looks like Venom coming at him. And
which would make sense because the way it strikes.
Exactly. So I really think, and again, I think Tom Holland has just ruined it for us, by wearing that production hat. So, I think it's he's in the movie, 100%. 100%.
The only thing I really think would really help the movie itself is if we see Venom style attacks similar to what we see in like Marvel vs. Capcom games. Like if we see like a Venom Rush, like he, outputs his tentacles like from the ground and like shoots up or something. Like if he shows like that he's been working on his abilities and putting new things into the spotlight, that would be fantastic. But if he's gonna keep running around as if he's some just wild beast and not use his powers like to the fullest extent, I feel like it's gonna drop really hard because like we have to see Carnage going ham and then Venom learning how to go ham, or at least knowing how to evade that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's a bit in the trailer where he goes, Venom just goes, "Oh shit, that's a red one." So that kind of tells us that he's aware of the different like families of symbiotes or whatever. So do you think they're gonna go into like a full blown like symbiote war?
I'm not too sure. It's kind of interesting how he said that. I'm not like, it's so weird because that's sort of his offspring, and I don't know if he like if it's a red one and he knows that red ones are offspring of other symbiotes, then maybe that's an indication of him knowing that oh shoot, that's an offspring. It's much stronger than me.
Yeah,
I gotta be careful.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
again, I was only rewatching the 90s cartoon and I completely forgot that Carnage was actually his, like, Venom's child, basically. Yeah. It's fucking nuts, dude. Yeah, it's nuts. I can't wait.
So,
the red symbiote, like, on Fortnite? Blakey's like, it's like the one in Fortnite? Yeah. They copied Fortnite. How dare they?
we live in a society now where Fortnite just creates all the characters that we see on theaters now.
Yeah, it's the guy from Fortnite.
Oh my God.
I made a TikTok a while ago when they first released the Green Arrow skin, and I got like the perfect clip from the show, put it in, dubbed that audio over it perfectly. I was like, I'm gonna get 1 million views on TikTok. I was like, this is gonna be the biggest video ever. I was like, this is genius, and I got like fucking 400 views. I was like, fuck. I genuinely thought it was gonna clap so well because like I had the music in the background and all. And it just was timed perfectly and everything. I was like, this video is gonna fucking blow me up, and it did nothing. I was so upset.
Just keep firing, buddy. You'll get one.
Oh, I don't really give a shit. Like, I just thought, like, you know, the way sometimes you have an idea and you're like, this video I think is going to be the one, like, this is going to be the one that's going to pop off. And then, like, TikTok doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Like, you know, you can put out, like, loads of, like, mediocre clips and one of them just shoots off. And then you can put out something that you think deserves to fucking explode and it does nothing, you know? So, I don't know. I just don't understand the algorithms at all.
It's finding something funny in the moment that's so difficult.
Enough. That's why. You need to dance more.
No, like it's like I've seen I've seen worse clips go viral than stuff that I've put up, and I'm like, how does this happen? Like, it's just look at the draw. I think, like, it really is. Like, I put a clip up on from God of War on TikTok and it got like 200 views. I put the same clip on Instagram, it got like 12,000 views. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's the exact same clip.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
it's really weird too. Like, I have one clip on TikTok that's like 110,000 views. I don't think I've ever got a follower or anyone from TikTok ever show up.
Yeah.
There's been other platforms.
There's been other platforms.
Yeah.
Where it's like a clip with like 50 views and like I see like 5 or 10 people from it.
Yeah.
You have to remember we're millennials, so TikTok is Gen Z. And so when we do it on Instagram, of course it's going to hit, but if we do it on TikTok, it's going to be really tough. Because we don't understand, you know, the generational humor. So it makes it difficult for us.
True.
Back in my day, we just had MySpace top 8s.
Yeah, do you remember?
MySpace top 8s? Oh my god. Are we really going into MySpace now?
Did you guys have Bebo in America? Was that a thing in America? Bebo?
Not that
Bebo was massive over here. They had this thing that was quite good where you could, like, they put a whiteboard on your profile and people could go on and like draw pictures and like send them to you and stuff. But like, it was
how many dicks got drawn?
Oh,
there's dicks everywhere, right?
So many, bro, so many. But like, I got good at doing graffiti with my like computer mouse and stuff. And me and loads of my friends used to do like graffiti pieces on each other's walls and all. It was fucking.
He says graffiti, and then you go through his the screenshot of all saved art. It's just graffiti.
just dick pics everywhere.
But he managed to like morph it into a flower.
Isn't it like, who's that kid that is obsessed? It's in some movie. He's like, I was just obsessed with drawing dicks.
Super bad.
And then,
Super bad.
Yeah, they found my
those dicks. Those dicks are so good in that as well. Like, they're so advanced. I have a friend, right? And this is no word of a lie. I've got a friend in real life who actually makes money because he's like Jonah Hill. He's able to draw these like artistic dicks, and he'll do like Simpsons ones and all this sort of shit. And he has people commissioning him to draw them dicks. Like, it's crazy, bro.
I had a buddy in Afghanistan that used a porta shitter and drew a dick village full of buildings shaped like dicks. There was a dick mayor.
Yeah,
it took him months.
Bro, I've seen some funny fucking shit on this dude's page. Like, I'll find something and post it in the Discord, like, so you can see it. But it's comical stuff. Blakey put up a clip. Kyle's TikTok advice. Let's go.
More dances, bro.
More dances, please.
Well, that concludes our dick section.
Yeah. I'm gonna timestamp that. 2 hours and 32 minutes. Dick talk.
Marvelous dicks.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Do you guys have any other like news from the week, or?
I didn't really see too much rumors. I mean, I saw a lot more people just continue speculating on Tom Hardy being on the post-production set of No Way Home, or Far From Home, whichever one.
No Way Home.
The home one, yeah. There's just more people speculating on that. A lot of people were pretty shook from this What If episode. And I haven't really seen rumors outside of those two. What about you guys?
Nothing really important. Just a lot of hype for Shang-Chi, and the fact that Shang-Chi did really well, which I'm really happy about.
I'm so happy about that, dude. Like, and like, you know, Shang-Chi has given us now the opportunity to go see the Eternals in the theater. Go see Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man this year.
Yeah, like it's saved everything. Like, it's absolutely brilliant. And now that
he's the Batman for MCU. He's not the hero we wanted. He's the one we needed.
Now that you mention it, I'm actually just going to check the global box office because I haven't checked it in about a week or so. I'm just very curious. Global box office, 327 million.
Damn,
man,
it's good. It's good for pandemic numbers. It's good. I think Black Widow did more, but. And I think this is like, actually, you know, they talk about Black Widow being a fucking failure, but the movie did 378 million globally.
The way that's still a failure to me.
That doesn't include all the Disney Plus shit. So
imagine
I think you're
when
probably
Wolverine
doubling
came
that.
out. But imagine if when Wolverine came out, if it only did that much. Like that's the coup de grace for Black Widow. That's her goodbye, farewell, send off movie. As like Wolverine's was for him. Look up Wolverines. I bet it did 500 mil. Right? It had to have done.
The last Spider-Man movie did 1.1 billion, and I know like that's like Sony's highest movie of all time, which is obviously why they want to keep the Spider-Man character so much. But at the same time, you know, 600 million, I'd say, if you include the Disney Plus money. And like it's really more than that because they get all of that money. I think that's a really like massive success for a character like Black Widow in a solo movie, to be honest. I think it's like really, really good money. And then I'm very curious to see, I don't know if they'll release these numbers, but Shang-Chi's probably gonna hit Disney Plus in the next couple of weeks, and it's gonna just bring in so much more revenue as well. People are just gonna subscribe to watch it. I don't know if they're going to release it as a premiere access like first, or if it'll just go up for free. But like, you know, you're definitely going to be creating subscriptions and stuff like that to watch that movie again for sure.
Wolverine box office 414. So
that's not.
I mean, 100 million.
That's not good. Like that. Those aren't good numbers for a
100 million more.
Well, but that's pre-COVID. Do you know what I mean? If you look at like, have a look at like Winter Soldier. Like, or any of these movies, like they're making fucking bank.
It's
bank.
And
look at the budget. If you're on IMDb, you can see the budget costs as well. So they give a rough estimate of how much it costs to make the movie, and like, you know, all these movies now are costing about $250 to make, and they're only making like $370. So they're not even making that much money. They're barely clearing their debt from the making of that movie in the box office. Now obviously they have everything else that's attached to it, all the advertising, which again they have to pay for, but it makes them money back as well, and Disney Plus and all this sort of thing, and merchandise and all that sort of shit. But you know, in the box office, like they're barely passing the budget cost of making the movies these days. So it's a scary time because they worship those numbers in Hollywood. Like, you know, they want to see the money made back from the movie a week after it comes out. Like, you know.
I blame Iron Man. Iron Man 3 came out the same year and did 1.25 billion box office.
This is the thing, like, you know, Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark, they could sell anything, and Spider-Man's the same. A Batman movie's the same. Like, these people have a die-hard fan base that will go and see anything. Like, I can guarantee you this Robert Pattinson movie that comes out could be the worst piece of shit ever, and it's still going to do 500 million in the box office during a pandemic. Like, I can guarantee it. Like, it's just built-in standard fans across the board all the time. Again, Spider-Man like 2 Far From Home is a fun movie, but I wouldn't say it's a 1.1 billion box office movie, you know what I mean? But it's making that money because it's Spider-Man, nothing else. If that was a movie, like if you put Black Widow in this place of Spider-Man and threw that exact same story down, that movie would have been bullshit. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's Spider-Man carries the movie. It's not the movie.
Well, we have some sort of an issue here because there is a suit afoot. It turns out that Disney's Marvel unit is suing to hold on to Avengers characters, including Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Falcon, and others.
I saw this, yeah.
Yeah. Further explains that the complaints, which the Hollywood Reporter has learned are being filed today, come against the heirs of some late comic book geniuses, including Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, and Gene Colan. The suits seek declaratory relief that these blockbuster characters are ineligible for copyright terminations as works made for hire. if Marvel loses, Disney would be letting ownership of the characters worth billions slip from their fingertips.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's
crazy, bro.
It's scary, to be honest.
It is.
Like
I'd say there'll be some big payouts. Big fucking payouts.
And I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But like it's one of those things of like, Disney's actually making this work. Do you really want to take that away from the fans? And most of them are going to say yes because they want the money.
Yeah. Well, like, you know, I think it came out there a couple of weeks ago that the creator of the Winter Soldier was asked, like, you know, like, do Marvel come to you and ask you about like character development? Like, you know, do you lend a hand? Like, have you got any EP credits ever or anything like that? He's like, no, they never talk to me at all. He's like, I might be lucky to get a ticket to the premiere in LA if there's like a movie coming out with the Winter Soldier in it, and sometimes they send me a check for like $5,000 and say thank you. It's like he created like a fucking Avenger basically, and this guy's been used in like 7 or 8 movies, has now got his own TV show. He's literally made Disney billions of dollars over the years, and it's like, here's $5,000 and a ticket to the premiere. Like, fuck that. And if that was me, if I created the Winter Soldier, I'd be fucking raging, and I'd be like, hang on guys, I think, you know, I deserve some fucking money for this, for creative like ownership of this character, and like, you know, work that's, you know, my creative work, like, you know. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're an artist and you make a song and it's played on the radio, you get money from it, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas these guys are getting nothing. It's fucking insane. So I can definitely see how people who are still alive, who are behind the creation of like Spider-Man and stuff, definitely want to see their characters, or the copyrights for their characters, returned to them. Like, that's great. Like, you know, why wouldn't you?
Now, without sounding too greedy though, can you tell me, like, if they were to give you, let's say you were a creator, and they were going to tell you, okay, we are going to give you royalties based on a percentage.
Yeah.
What percentage do you think would be applicable for them to be okay with? Like, for you to be okay with, actually? Well,
if I'm being treated like this dude who created the Winter Soldier's being treated, I would want a lot. But I think, you know, if they're being fair about it, like, you know, if you go and create a character in like the 1980s and draw him in some comic books, you know, do you deserve to be paid for the rest of your life? Well, I suppose so. Like, look at the people who, like, look at the cast of Friends. They still make like $20 million a year just from replays and Netflix and all this sort of shit. So like, they get so much money off the back of just them doing a show 20 years ago that still airs on TV. Like, so yeah, I think, like, you know, give the guys what they're owed. 100%.
What percentage would you do it for?
Like, I don't even think you need to like look at like as a percentage, but I think you just maybe pay them a flat fee or something. I don't even know, like, to be honest. I think anything is fair compared to what this sounds like they're getting, which is fucking nothing.
Right.
You know?
So you're saying a payout would be better?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I suppose maybe like if there's an appearance fee, or, you know, a character like the Winter Soldier's being used in Captain America 3, I think, you know, the creator of that should get like an EP credit and earn some money as the movie's doing well or whatever. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I think you're dead right. Yeah. And then
at least something.
Like, and then, like, you know, Disney Plus show comes out, like, you know, there's millions and millions of views on each episode and it's literally has the name Falcon and the fucking Winter Soldier, you know, and it's like, and this guy's getting like a $5,000 check, like, and a thank you letter, bro. That's robbery. So horrible. It's robbery.
They sprayed the thank you letter with perfume though.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Sealed with a kiss.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there any other news? I saw Vincent D'Onofrio put out like he did an interview very recently saying that, like, you know, he'd give anything to come back as Kingpin. I think he's kind of playing, because I know, like, you know, I'm pretty sure, you know, along with the Charlie Cox thing, I think he's very much attached to a return to the MCU, or sorry, a crossover to the MCU, same as him. And I think we're going to see him very soon. I think he's going to be in the Hawkeye series. So I think he's just kind of playing it up and trying to get the internet hyped and talking about him and stuff like that. But I think he's already shot scenes for sure. He's already back, like, and like, you know, people are going around talking about him on Twitter and all this sort of thing, and he's liking all these tweets with like theories that he's in Spider-Man and that he's in Hawkeye and all this sort of stuff. So he's playing it up like he's loving it. He's creating all this press, and it's a good idea. You know what I mean? He's just saying that he wants to be in it. He's not saying that he is. He's not breaking any NDAs or anything like that. But I say fair play to him. You know, I
of course,
love him as an actor. Love him as a character.
I didn't realize how much range he had, though. Like, I didn't realize he was Edgar the Bug in Men in Black.
Yeah, he's an incredible actor, bro. Incredible. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, I just think we're going to be so spoiled in the coming years for shit. Like, it's insane.
Of course.
Insane.
At least, hopefully, that lawsuit gets settled, though, in case things get pretty choppy.
I still think, like, even if that lawsuit goes crazy, I think, you know, Disney have to pay shit tons of money, but I still think that they do it. I still think we're going to get I don't think we're going to ever get the characters stripped away from us and not be allowed to use them. I think Disney, you know, might have to pay a couple of $1 billion, but they'll fucking do it because they're going to make the money back. Like, you know, they just released the next Avengers movie and they make fucking $1.5 billion in the box office. Boom. Lawsuit paid for, like, you know.
I think that's one of the things that boggles my mind is like why does there have to be lawsuits in order to get this settled? But then again, I realize like you have to have legal documents and things that are written down and say like, okay, we own these characters now, and you can't say anything about whether or not these were your characters to begin with.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if they were to just pay him outright, they could just come back and be like, you know what? I own these characters. These characters like belong to me and I want them back. And so they don't, you know, I think I understand now like why lawsuits are so useful.
Yeah. Guys, I gotta just say, I just saw this opening up Twitch, but fucking TSM Daquan is back. He's live. Daquan is live right now.
He's not TSM anymore. He signed with 100 Thieves.
His name is literally TSM Daquan.
Oh yeah,
he signed with Energy. But
oh yeah, energy. That's right.
He's literally down here as TSM_Daquan. He's live right now.
Yeah. Him and
I'm so happy to see him.
They got a content house.
I know.
They literally are like running a mansion.
I saw that, but I'm just gobsmacked that he's back. It's amazing. Love him so much. I used to watch his YouTube videos every fucking day back in the heyday of Fortnite and everything. I'd watch his videos every day. He was so good. He's playing Apex right now. Amazing. So happy. Guys, I think that's the end of the podcast. We're just about to hit like we're over 2.5 hours. No one's going to be listening to this. I'm just putting it out there right now. Like, no one's going to be here this deep into it this late, so we can fucking say what we want here.
Dude, trust me. Like I will listen to things like this. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be other people when, like, as it starts rolling forward, we're going to get people just having this on and just listening as they do stuff.
That's what I do, bro. Like, I have podcasts on when I work. I'm listening to YouTubes and all that sort of shit and watching streams while I work. But yeah, I just think, like, you know, down the line, I think, you know, as the podcast grows bigger and we get more popular, I think people will go back and listen to the older episodes. So, you know, yeah, massive shout out to anybody who's listening to this in 2023. What's the story? How are you? Hope you're doing well.
We told you Spider-Man and Doctor Strange were going to be bangers.
I fucking told you Toby was in it. No, all jokes aside, guys, if you do like the content, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us on Spotify, make sure you fucking turn on the notifications. Legends.
We're also on Apple Podcasts.
We're on them all. We're on Google. We're on everything. I actually can't find our podcast on Apple. I've looked for
Apple's the only one I couldn't find.
I can't find us on Apple. I've tried.
Say in the past when I tried to upload podcasts to it, they're really hard accepting, like the way Spotify accepts you into it. You have to submit like a picture and stuff. The application for Apple gets sent back a lot for some reason. So I remember back in the day, I just gave up on Apple myself because it was annoying.
I went searching through Apple, and I'm like, the amount of podcasts to do with Marvel. I was like, maybe I just can't find it because like we've got no listens. It's probably down the very bottom of a list somewhere. But yeah.
we'll find it eventually.
We will.
Somewhere in there.
We will, of course. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Podcast
next week, what are the movies for next week?
I don't know the timeline order, but the next 2 movies in the MCU timeline order, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk What If Episode 8. It's going to be great. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here. Are any of you guys playing some games now?
I think I'm going to be playing Apex here in a little bit.
I might jump on Apex.
All right, I'll hit you up.
What are you doing, Alex?
My lady should be home in a bit, so I'm probably going to hang out with her.
Okay.
I'll be on Apex like 15 Finto.
Okay, cool. Yeah, all right. Alex, thank you so much, dude. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Wonderful.
Kyle,
Thanks, guys.
I'll see you soon.
Marvelous.
Have a great day, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
GG's.
Have a good one.
Bye.